We all know the tasteless casuals hype garbage all the time, but what is the idiotic reasoning they use for generating said hype? Here are 10 reasons. Number 1. Pretty colors and nice sounds. This is self-explained. It's amazing because it looks and sounds amazing. Who cares about plot and characters? Number 2. Selling on name. Having famous people in the production team or the show being a low-effort spin-off of a much better series is guaranteed to attract a lot of people who will like it and hype it right away. Number 3. It's an adaptation of a source material many like. The popularity of a title explodes only when it's based on a manga, light novel or video game. The more fans the source has, the more hype the adaptation is generating, regardless of how good it actually is. Number 4. Nobody knows the ending, either because the show is an anime original or because the source material is still ongoing. The moment people know how it ends, most of the hype is gone. Number 5. Theory crafting. Because the show has mysteries or conflicts, the resolution of which is not known, therefore everything is possible and all predictions count. It doesn't matter how stupid the whole thing is, it only matters that it makes you speculate. Number 6. Cliffhangers. If a show with mystery and action always ends an episode moments full of tension, then everybody wants to know what will happen next, regardless of if everything could be easily solved or avoided. Number 7. Urge. Makes the emotional fags to think a show is mature and thrilling when it's just misery porn regarding angsty teenagers and tortured children. Number 8. Double standards in themes by being serious on paper and silly in execution. If the author is deliberately being lazy about interesting concepts, then the fans will start filling the blanks with their imagination, which will make it seem like the story is amazing because they imagine it being exactly as they want it to be. They will say stuff like, "It's real and it happens all the time out there." And when someone points out how vague and badly conceived the whole thing is, they will just see the silly parts of the show and say, "It's fictional, you're not supposed to take it seriously, it's just entertainment, so have fun with it and don't think much about it." Number 9. Eccentric main characters. As long as you have one major character being over the top, he carries the whole show and everybody loves and hypes it just for that. Extra points if the major character is a psychotic cute girl. And number 10. The need to hype something new every season. It is very meta, but it's true. Even if a season is complete crap, the fans will surely find something to hype, no matter how stupid it is, because that is the only thing that keeps them going.
These 10 shows are the ones that I consider to be most likely to stand out purely based on the studio Madhouse, because it's being produced by Ufotable. Going to be the best looking series this season. It's A1 Pictures, so it's probably going to be somewhat impressive, with cute girls and explosions. A spectacle. Let's throw a bunch of girls into a nerd-like setting purely for the entertainment of the kind of otaku fans that most people have a good time making fun of. It's got the cute girls part down pat, and they apparently have all come together to work at a video game company. A slice-of-life adventure about schoolgirls and scuba diving. Amazing. Berserk. I freaking love Berserk. And I think it is going to be freaking amazing. It is being handled by the same studio responsible for Terror and Resonance, Orange. The story is a kind of romance drama with an interesting twist. The potential is there. With just that, I'm already sold. It's being animated by Studio Bones, and the original story for it was written by the webcomic artist who created One Punch Man. I am so pumped this is going to be so cute! It's gonna look so good in the food! Oh. One of the few times that I've read the manga excited for a series because I know the source material is amazing. Stay frosty.
Arcado mentioned several times in the video that this was his opinion, so going in he already established, do not take my opinion seriously vibe. Pretty mean-spirited to attack someone's personal list. Nostalgia faculty. Are you kidding me, visual horror?
Just like how your fans pay you to hit on the series, I don't see the problem. You are both doing it for money anyways.
Just because you have different preference does not make your taste in anime better. You are cancer.
Oh look, Snob is once again bullying other YouTubers who are bigger and more successful than he'll ever be.
I could just tell you that the new shows coming out this season are going to be shit, and that it would be rather sad to watch anime for a living if I went into a show and a season thinking that the whole thing was just going to be shit. So, optimism! Good shows based on the little amount of information that I have pre-season, because of its connection to the comedy series Gintama. Several of the voice actors from Gintama are here as well, because the character designer for the series also just so happens to be the original creator to Rakugo Shinju. Even if the stories are less than stellar, it will be a spectacle to watch. Amazing Sakuga. As long as we get that, I'll be happy. Well, with luck, there'll be an interesting story too. I'm not expecting brilliance out of Long Riders, but I do hope for entertainment. We get a story about a professional shogi player, not doing very well socially. He becomes acquainted with a nearby family of 3 sisters. This seemingly innocent storyline makes the internet explode. it's being produced at White Fox. You might know them as the ones who produced ReZero this past season. ReZero was definitely an enjoyable series. It was written by the original creator for Steins Gate. It's being based off of a light novel. Its original creator, Helsing, seriously well animated. Kyoto Animation will keep this particular Moe train on the rails for a while longer. Stay frosty.
Some people are surprised with Dragon Ball Super surpassing the popularity of One Piece in its current episodes, even though it's pretty obvious to see how that happened. You honestly find it weird that a major showdown of a show we do not know what will happen next because there is no manga does better than the build-up of another show where we do know what will happen next thanks to the source material? Where do you think all the excitement is currently at? Nostalgia was definitely not the only thing that helped the Super to surpass One Piece, since this is the first time it happened 7 years after they began milking the franchise with Dragon Ball Kai. The name was not enough, it also needed to cater the fans with all the favorites instead of revisiting older material or introducing new characters. There is a reason Resurrection of F sold a lot more than Battle of the Gods, or why the Goku Black arc is way more popular than the Champa arc. They brought back Frieza and Trunks, two of the most iconic characters who could normally never be seen again, while rehashing ideas we have seen and liked in the past, even though they should not be relevant at this point. It's the same thing that worked so well for The Force Awakens, reusing the exact same formula while at the same time pretending to be a completely new story. Also keep in mind that there is nothing much for hype-tards to fangasm about in this season. They were starving for a circle jerk, and were willing to find anything available no matter how shitty it is. Also they had to find it amongst the new shows, because watching older titles is incomprehensible to them. Guess which airing shows have action, mystery, and lots of theory crafting for endless pretensions of a thinking that will give them easy traffic and money. Only one, and it's Dragon Ball Super.
Money, 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 money.
Fun fact, it's far from the first time and surely not the worst that this happened. If you remember summer 2015, when the internet was overflowing with Hestia fanservice images, because there was nothing else to circle jerk about. Other than that, it's definitely not the script that helped Dragon Ball surpass One Piece, since the plot makes absolutely no sense even when Toriyama is desperately trying to make sense of it. Just look at this mess that it's supposed to officially explain how time travel works in the current arc. None of that is possible without creating a new timeline or giving more than 5 minutes for Zamasu to get the ring and do a dozen things before Whis resets time. Bottom line, the community is filled with man children seeking instant self-gratification and are willing to drop really low for it.
Dragon Ball Super on fire, baby. I'm loving it right now. I'm loving it. Money! Dragon Ball Super will be coming to an end. Yo, the Seven Deadly Sins, it is a damn good show. Oh my gosh. I love it. Meliodas and Elizabeth.
They're doing the power levels now.
It's over 9,000!
There's just so much going on with so many different characters. Oh my gosh. I love this song.
Each person has like 6 stats to them, and they take a lot of time within this first episode.
Meliodas' character is amazingly deep and complex, being silly, still groping up on her, which I love that shit. That's funny. Yo, the sins, the commandments, so hype right now.
6 different stats, it had this freeze frame, and it took up a lot of time. It was annoying, and it really doesn't matter. All you have to do is get angry, and it changes. If they mattered, then the anime would become boring.
Very interesting and very subtle at the same time. Getting really deep and analyzing this shit here. Woo! Yo! Oh my god!
These villains here, they do look pretty strong, and I can't wait to see them talk about some more damn power levels.
I want to see some
damn power levels.
God damn it.
We had Diane losing her memories, and she just got them back. But then on top of that, she's fighting somebody that just erased somebody else's memories, and that's the interesting complexity right there with their relationship. This is so lit! Yeah, praise the sun, bitch!
Did not have enough substance, in my opinion, in order to say that it was a very exciting experience.
More romance. It should be the 7 deadly romances or something. Money!
In fiction, there is this thing called hype backlash. It's the effect of many people loving something while it's still airing, and after a certain amount of time, many others are hating it. The typical explanation comes from the fans of such titles, who will always try to excuse it as people love to hate what is popular, and they seem to forget that they are the ones which created this hatred in the first place. Think of it like waves on a beach. A certain amount of water splashes on the land and then slowly flows back in the sea. The more water flows back, the bigger will be the wave that will be created by it. Using this analogy, the more hype a title has, the bigger its critique will be once the backlash kicks in. Therefore, the thing which mostly creates anti-hype is hype itself.
Attack on Titan blew my expectations out the water. They did a phenomenal job. Tops anything. So beautiful. Freaking outstanding times 10. It was just freaking flawless. 10 out of 5.
All anime suck!
At this point, you may wonder, why exactly does anti-hype appear after the hype and not at the same time? The main reason is motivation. The initial wave that creates hype involves only those who were invested in watching the show as soon as it came out. The second wave involves people who were not interested in the beginning and became interested because of the hype. The reason the second wave is heavy on anti-hype is because their expectations are so much higher than the first wave that it becomes extremely hard to meet or surpass them. As a result, most will feel disappointed and we get the hype backlash. There are of course cases when we begin with anti-hype because the first wave is disappointed with what the promotion of a show was promising, followed by hype coming from the second wave, which had very lowered expectations and wasn't bothered as much. The logic is the same, it's just far more uncommon to happen. The thing is, since we live in the information age, data and along with it multiple opinions transfer very fast. The amount of time it takes to move from the opinion of the first wave to the counter opinion of the second wave is usually very short. Most of the times it's less than a year. Sometimes we can even have both waves going at the same time with conflicting opinion, thus labeling a title controversial. Before the internet, this took a lot more time to happen, sometimes even decades, before the backlash was created. This is why older titles could enjoy decades of being considered the greatest, while newer ones struggle to stay on the top of popularity for a single season. And that is something which younger anime fans misunderstand. Modern titles have as an advantage things like novelty, hype, popularity, better production values. This tends to give them a lot of value in the eyes of newer fans. When said fans look at older titles, most of them wonder why are these so popular or why were they considered to be that great. They don't look as wonderful as recent titles, their stories are hard to get into, the characters feel generic, and their themes are stuff you can find in many much newer and better titles. The reason this happens is because they judge retro titles with modern mentality. Many older titles may not feel so great now, but back when they originally came out, they were groundbreaking. The reason they no longer feel groundbreaking is because later titles copied all their ideas and added all sorts of variations, twists and flavors, to the point that the initial amazing idea no longer feels amazing because so many did the same thing. And that is what needs to be made clear when we are talking about the value of a show. Retro titles no longer have novelty or hype or popularity. What they have is historical value. It's like veteran soldiers from World War II. Today they may appear to be nothing but senile old farts to the newer generation, but back in their youth they did things none of the brats who experience war only through movies and video games can possibly understand. The world may have moved on and forgotten their deeds, but they still shaped the world with their actions. Of course, historical importance is something that matters only for shows which had something new to offer when they first came out. There is another type of value which is based on nostalgia. Many older titles were never that good, even in their prime, but they were lucky enough to be the only ones airing in a specific country and year, with nothing better airing at the same time. This made them seem amazing to the audience which grew up watching them and considers them special for being their gateway titles, or simply because they invested so much time watching hundreds of episodes to the point they were fully immersed. You know, hooked, addicted, fully absorbed because there was nothing better to distract them. TV Tropes has an entry for such shows calling it Seinfeld is Unfunny, in which people no longer care about a show that although was never bad, it just doesn't give people any reason to watch it because there is nothing special in it anymore. What must also be made clear is that eventually eventually both historical importance and nostalgia are facing their critique. There is nothing strange in that. It's a completely natural process for people to look back at what came before them and challenge their importance. Eventually, there is always going to be a second opinion about something, which can even overtake the initial opinion once superficial elements such as novelty are gone. There is also a third type of value, which has to do with artistic overtones. It's usually grouped along with production values, which makes it seem superficial, since old shows have dated visuals and don't look spectacular. They don't just survive the test of time. Cinematics and music score, on the other hand, can remain important for a much longer period of time. The inexperienced eye, though, finds it very hard to concentrate enough and tell apart a well-animated from a well-directed title. Thus, this type of value is something not everybody can comprehend and appreciate. I can even say it is the least important compared to script and character appeal. Cinematics can only buff what is already there, they do not add something extra. Thus, if there is no real content to buff, such as interesting themes or developed characters, they are very superficial and it doesn't matter how well they are done. Another type of value which matters even less than cinematics are the sales. The term value only translates to how successful is a title in terms of profits. It can dictate if it's profitable for a company to make another season or something similar to what sells, but it otherwise doesn't prove a title is good because it sold a lot of copies or had a high enough viewership. Many viewers are of course using it as a very weak proof of how good a show is, like, if it sold a lot and is so popular, it is obviously a good show. This doesn't have any real merit once you realize how lots of things that lack substance sell a lot simply because of good promotion. In fact, that is the main reason hype backlash comes into being and causes a lot of unnecessary drama. Experienced fans are more immune to such baits and can see past the superfluous glamour and tell apart the true values of a series. And if all that confused you, here's a TLDR.
Dragon Ball Super's ending, King Tama's almost over, Hajime no Ippo's ending, Magi just ended, everything that I love is ending, you're taking it all from me, you really want to take it all from me, huh? Just everything. Hopefully there's a spin-off or a sequel or something.
Today I learned, every time a show ends, it's taken away from you. The moment you finish reading a book, someone jumps in from an open window and steals it. Exactly when you finish watching a movie, someone breaks down your door and takes away your TV.
You're taking it all from me.
Or this is all bullshit and you are just a junkie who wants his weekly dose of garbage without any regard for quality. You want something to be never-ending or to get a sequel soon afterwards. It's impossible to consider the option of letting a story end when it's supposed to and instead want it to keep going forever.
Hopefully there's a spin-off or a sequel or something.
It's impossible to try out something different or new or better. That's why your mental maturity is stuck in a shonen phase for never facts. You're just talking about the same 3 shitty shonen for years, to the point you have no idea what is going on with the other 10,000 anime out there.
The facts are the facts, and the facts is, I'm not sure if it's confirmed to be ending, that is facts. There was a quote, but there's no confirmation, that is facts. I did hear a rumor about a potential time slot change, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, that is facts.
And holy shit, they are taking away the shows you like because they are ending? How exactly are they doing that when you can still read or watch them whenever you feel like it? They are still there, available to revisit them every minute of every hour of every day, taking away everything you love. The only thing they take away from you is the ad revenue you're not gonna be making anymore from this trash. So yeah, from that perspective, you have a lot to be depressed about.
You're taking money from me.
I never had this option when I was a kid. Everything was airing on television. If I missed an episode, I could only hope for a rerun next year. Do you know how many manga I was reading at random because I could never find a whole series? And despite all that, I never said something was taken away from me when it was ending, because I still have it in my mind. A place nobody can jump in and take it away from me, and I sure don't forget it just so I can jump onto the next bandwagon.
The 7 Deadly Sins, it is a damn good show. Oh my gosh, I love it.
You don't care about quality for never facts because you don't use your brain, much less do research. You just want your weekly fix of shonen that you wish they never end, despite getting worse and worse the more they stretch them to last beyond what they should have. You are the living embodiment of a shonen tard, someone who refuses to grow up.
It definitely feels like this is more of an adult Dragon Ball, darker than anything we've seen in Dragon Ball. It feels as though Dragon Ball with this arc grew up with us finally.
And in case you say there is nothing wrong with staying a shonen tard all your life, then why every single one of your once best buddies from We Are Nakama is now your mortal enemy? People keep telling me the anime mafia never existed, yet here we are with every single one of We Are Nakama pointing fingers at each other like a crime syndicate that got busted by the cops.
You knew it was coming. If you didn't realize that I was gonna fucking come at this shit right now, then I don't know what channel you've been watching.
Why are you threatening to dox anyone who talks negatively of you for never facts? What kind of unspeakable crimes did you assholes commit during your anime mafia days? You can't stop hyping Naruto, Luffy and Son Goku, and yet you behave like their worst enemies! You are a scum for never facts, addicted to making money out of hyping trash and doing no research! I am not attacking you out of envy. You've been financially successful for making tons of money by pandering the shonen tards. I'm attacking you because you say one thing and you mean another.
You're taking money from me. Very interesting news. It looks like potentially he could die in this episode. That's pretty terrible. Is that really necessary to talk about? You'll cry in the first 20 to 30 minutes of the film. If Roshi is gonna die in this episode, that's the terrible thing I would think of, right? I'm probably not gonna talk about it, and this is no shade at anybody. What would be something that would really make us cry? A major death like that, I'd be sad. When we thought he died a couple weeks ago, I was damn near in tears and shit, so that would be terrible. Yeah, that's not on my prerogative, you know? Death could definitely be something that would make people cry. And we have a little teaser giving us confirmation something terrible happening. There's nothing that anybody would cry about in Dragon Ball just because the Dragon Balls themselves can always be used to reverse whatever happens. Paragus is going to be tragic. I'm interested in that. We have confirmation that on the 1 hour special, something terrible will happen. You know, this filthy Saiyan we just met has done absolutely nothing but be a redesign, has left our presence like, no, we won't care. They're shaking up the formula. They're making changes to this, you know, established character. The thing that's terrible that's about to happen is gonna happen in this 1 hour special. Some things might excite people and some things might not. Yo!
Marvel has seen better days. Now, what if I told you there's a comic book universe that is harkening back to classic Marvel comics? To the days when characters were well developed and the powers were fresh and exciting, and the stories weren't half-baked. Enter My Hero Academia.
One of the show's main characters, All Might, is very obviously based on DC's big blue Boy Scout Superman, a character that I've kind of lost some love for recently. However, My Hero Academia's treatment of the Superman archetype has really stuck with me. It does a few things with the archetype to make it interesting again.
I find many Western superhero fans praising My Hero Academia is refreshing compared to the cesspool of what Marvel and DC have become. They are not saying it's something new, they are calling it a return to the classic formula of superheroes they used to like decades ago. This contradicts what anime fans are saying about it, since they think it's a deconstruction or some bullshit like that.
The idea of quirks is interesting and something new that we haven't seen in anime.
But for the sake of this topic, we will stick to the Western fans alone. Calling something refreshing is the same as saying they are jumping ship from an old rusty sinking one to a new one that still floats. There is nothing wrong with that, but it's not exactly a merit. Western superhero comics have been around for about 80 years for DC and 60 for Marvel. In this large amount of time, they have produced at least 1,000 issues per character. Comparing them to a fairly new manga, which is still below 200, is kind of unfair. What I mean is that I like it because it's fresh and not because it remains consistently good for hundreds of chapters. Naruto and Bleach were also fresh in the first 100 or so chapters, but even they eventually lost steam and quality, making many to jump ship to My Hero Academia for being the new thing. I don't like One Piece as much as I used to, but it's closing in to 1,000 chapters without a huge dip in quality of the other two. It's no longer new and refreshing, but it has enough material to be judged more fairly to perpetually ongoing Western comics. My Hero Academia is way too new to call it anything besides, hey, it's refreshing. It's not really a merit, it's a fad which will most likely be over in a year when the next new and refreshing thing comes out, for everyone to jump ship once again.
Just what is it though that makes this series perfect for people who are tired of Marvel? The new hit manga anime series has seemingly come out of nowhere and has reignited my love for superheroes.
There's, no more Dragon Ball Super anime. People that are Dragon Ball Super only fans are probably asking, hey, what should I watch until Dragon Ball comes back? Because let's be 100% clear, nothing can replace Dragon Ball. But I'm mainly referring to the experience of, hey, watching something on a weekly basis. My Hero Academia is definitely the replacement or successor to Dragon Ball in terms of what people are going to be rocking with until Dragon Ball comes back. My Hero Academia is going to be, until Dragon Ball comes back, the successor to Dragon Ball Super in terms of, like, I'm really excited about it. It's pretty freaking hype. It got the juice, and of course, if you're one of those people that you like to be in on what's poppin', My Hero Academia is, again, the most poppin' series on the internet. And of course, the popularity, again, I don't see people yelling Boruto or Naruto as much anymore as they are definitely screaming My Hero Academia. So if we're even going in terms of popularity, which I normally try to stray away from it, popularity never is the automatic de facto on if something is good or not.
So Gigak made this video about what changed over the years with watching anime, and he mostly focused on how it's very hard to keep up with seasonal anime. Instead of watching the selective good shows of the past, anime fans nowadays are trying to watch as many currently airing shows as they can. I agree with him, I've noticed it myself years ago. For something to be trending, it has to be ongoing. If it's over, so is the buzz, so what's the point in watching a completed series? This is the effect of being able to watch a show the moment it's coming out instead of being forced to wait years for it to be completed, brought over, subbed and distributed. Being able to instantly get whatever you want has made people impatient and focused a lot more on what's airing instead of what's worth it. This in turn has multiplied the amount of data or entertainment we can consume 100 times compared to the time before the internet. And because there is so much of it, it also makes it harder to remember or care about most of what we consume. All that are nothing new if you watched enough of my videos. What I want to remind you though is that you don't have to behave like that. You don't have to consume as much as you want for the sole purpose of following what's trending. Not when you know beforehand that you won't care or even remember most of that crap a week after they are over. I advise you to always go for selective viewing. Focus on the few things that interest you instead of trying to watch everything and not caring about a single one of them. Which I am pretty sure most of you are doing anyways. Isn't this the case with every new season? You try to follow dozens of shows and by the third episode you end up dropping most of them and keep up with the ones that you like the most? You shouldn't feel bad for not consuming more if you're not motivated to do so. If a show is underwatched and underrated, I'm pretty sure there will be enough people praising it after it's over and will attract enough of you to check it out. But in order to do that, you should stop giving a damn about only ongoing series. My channel is focused on telling you what is worth checking out. The squeeze videos, the studio evaluations, even the lessons from past anime are all about what is good and completed. By extension, they are also supposed to be improving your critical thinking, so you will know by yourselves what's worth it from what is currently airing. If you watch enough of my videos, you should be able to distinguish the flavor of the month from the good shit which will have staying power way after they are over. I plan to make a new series of videos called Anime Legacy, which many of you will feel like I am regurgitating everything I said in the Anime Squeeze videos, but they will be focused on the staying power of anime of each year. How much do we remember them after all those years? How much are they worth to be remembered, and do they deserve their fame after live action and cartoons were, up until recently, in a golden age? I believe it will be interesting to double check how much of it is nostalgia or hype at the time they came out, and today they don't mean that much. But until that happens, always remember, you don't have to watch everything. Use your critical thinking, because very few things are actually worth your time. Unless, of course, you are an episodic reviewer who deliberately does not improve his critical thinking, so he can perpetually hype everything he's watching and rehashes the exact same nonsense in every episode, just to keep making money by repeating himself.
Black Clover is a good series.
Already a lot of people are saying that this may be one of the potential shows of the year.
Black Clover really is already a mega hit and on its way to becoming one of the pillars of Jump. Black Clover has been dominating. Everyone's talking about it. Season 1 of My Hero Academia didn't really get that much hype. New king of shonen anime is here. This could be the new Naruto and Bleach.
One of the countless problems easily impressed people have is how they rush to label something as the best of the year or even of all times in just a few minutes of coming in contact with it. This is extremely disorienting when it comes to the expectations of others, who keep hearing about one thing concerning a title, and when they experience it themselves, they get something entirely different.
A Place Further Than the Universe has been making its rounds on YouTube as the best anime of the year. I thought I was going to watch a masterpiece. All I got was a decent, cute girls anime.
Although it seems to be the same thing as hype, it goes even further than that when it becomes misinformative. How can something be the best of the year when the year is not even over? How can it be the best of everything when you didn't watch everything? How can it be the best of all times when eternity is not over yet?
Devilman Crybaby. We're only a week into the new year, and it's already the best anime of the year. Great, nice start.
Clearly, this is done for the sake of clickbait. If someone sounds super excited, then more people will be watching his videos instead of someone else who is not interested or is very negative about it. Because we've reached a point where quality doesn't matter as much as talking positively about something.
Hey, what is going on here? None of these things happened.
I see all the signs and I know what's going on, but I still refuse. I don't fucking care, right? I don't care.
By extension, the truth doesn't matter either, since most people want to be fed lies, so they will feel nice from the fiction they consume. Reality is harsh and exists only for offending you. Fiction, on the other hand, now that's something you want to hear only positive things about.
You've been lied to. Daily.
You can come from nothing and get anything accomplished if you work hard at it, getting the best content to the people that want to watch it. I don't know if I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's been confirmation on certain aspects, but there hasn't been any confirmation. I could be totally wrong. Just keep on at it, and it'll happen eventually.
And you want to hear about it now. You don't want for it to end before you are showered with how amazing it is. You don't even want to wait for it to actually begin airing before you are told it's worth it. There is no waiting in the era of the internet. If you have to wait for more than 7 seconds for something, it exceeds your maximum attention span and you get over it.
My favorite book. I haven't read it, but I can say it's my favorite book ever.
When you're content with what you get now, not caring about getting better things in the future, or even bothering to wonder if all the stuff you are watching deserve all the positivity they are getting, then how can your taste evolve? How can you move forward when you are given no reason to?
Oh man, I feel like I'm a kid again. Kid that was 21.
Imagine a scenario where a few years back someone was telling you there's gonna be a season with continuations of Attack on Titan, Steins Gate, My Hero Academia, and Naruto all airing at the same time. You would think that season would be the best season of all times, where every day you would get the hypest moments, the craziest discussions, and the most amazing Sakuga gifs. And yet here we are with such a season, and it's the deadest of the dead. How is it possible to have 4 of the most popular, the most exciting, the most praised anime in existence that were once individually able to set the whole community on fire, now being unable to keep anyone interested for more than a couple of episodes, despite all 4 of them coming out at the same time? And the answer is simple. They became big to the point it actually hurts them. You see, originally each of them had to earn its fame. There was obviously a push by those who were familiar with the source material, but even then most of the praise was coming from the anime onlys. It doesn't matter how much everyone insists the source material is better, since whatever you hear or see about how good they are at this and at that is 99% coming from the adaptation. And as it happens with any easily impressed individual, he will lose his mind and will do all the usual shit such people are doing, making shallow statements about the best thing ever, memes, pretentious overthinking, analysis of the themes, worthless theory crafting about what comes next, and the best waifu debates. He will hype the shit and will probably lure in more like him to keep doing the same shit. He will help the adaptation in its explosion of popularity and won't stop yelling like a monkey about wanting more. And then there is going to be a cool-down period before the next season comes out. During this time, most of the so-called fans of the show won't be waiting for a continuation. Many of them will simply read the rest of the story by moving to the source material. Others will lose interest and move to something else to be hyped about, since that is what they actually wanted. They never really liked the show for whatever it was about. And then there will be those who will patiently stick around, only to be bombarded on a daily basis by cinema scenes wannabes who will be pointing out every plot hole, inconsistency and contrivance imaginable. They will be constantly told why the thing they like is not as good as they thought it is. By the time the continuation comes, whatever excitement or positive image they had about the first season will be gone. You reach a point where, despite being interested in a sequel, is not something that can last for long. With not many new fans coming in during a continuation, and most of the old having moved on, it doesn't have the same excitement. With almost everyone around you constantly spoiling what is going to happen next, and everything that could have been said about the themes has already been analyzed to death years prior, it's harder to stay invested. This is yet another reason for why retro always wins. Before the internet there was no hype culture, there were no forums full of pretentious overthinkers and cinema scenes wannabes blowing everything out of proportion, stuffing it with people who didn't really care about the show and were looking for excitement, and saturating everything that is good about it in a couple of weeks. When you liked something in the 90s or earlier, it was a personal thing. There was nobody around to spoil what is going to happen next, or point out the plot holes, or overanalyze it to the point you can't take it seriously. And that is why I love the summer season of 2018. It's so fucking dead, it's exactly like things used to be back when I was younger and the world was a better place. It's so liberating to be able to watch whatever you want without everyone around you screaming like monkeys about the latest trash. This is the best season I have experienced in years. I have checked out dozens of movies and series from the past, which I would otherwise not be able to enjoy because of all the hype people are constantly screaming around me, and since nobody I talk to over at Skype and Discord is hyped about the currently airing shit, they are a lot more open to checking out older titles they normally wouldn't care about if they were hyped about something like a recent filler episode of My Hero Academia. Thus, my little plebs, as much as you may hate how dead this season is, I say you should instead be rejoicing. You are free from the hollow spectacle of seasonal watching. You can finally watch something without constantly misjudging it because of episodic vloggers, hype view whores, and shilling pretentious overthinkers. You are free for once. Rejoice!
This is cancer.
So we're seemingly about to be done with the Promised Neverland manga. It might be wrapping up very, very soon. Probably by next year. I believe it was about a year ago that they said we're not going to be going that much longer. We entered the final arc. If I'm not mistaken, this thing is going to be over. It seems as though the Promised Neverland is about to wrap up, which is unfortunate. We never want series that we enjoy to end. I'd rather have a quality series through and through that's shorter than have 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 chapters and them just not wanting to do it and it being uninspired and the series dips in quality. That's the most important one, because if a series continues to go and go and go and go and they're not passionate about it and they're not planned and they don't want to do it, the series will dip in quality. I'll prefer a quality series with the narrative being very structured well than again it falling apart.
I need it!
I want to bring change, and the change ain't gonna come if I'm just constantly going and backtracking.
Then stop dick riding Dragon Ball and regurgitating other people's tweets and do something useful for a change. We had a case where a lot of shit we know about happened all at the same time, so it's kind of stuff you have seen before happening at once. A guy made a topic about Black Clover being bad despite what everybody else is saying, and wonders why do so many go easy on it. Nobody was going easy on it, everybody hated the first episodes. It's just that everybody who dropped it stopped watching it and thus stopped talking about it, whereas everyone who didn't drop it, because he's a tasteless pleb or a sellout who hypes garbage for money, didn't stop talking about it. Because the majority of people are not watching something just to keep saying how much they hate it. I am the exception because I hate everything. Also, the same guy said that he dropped Black Clover at first and only gave it a second chance because that fucking sellout Gigak said it's underrated. He hyped it up so much, in an attempt to lure people back into watching it, he could only disappoint anyone who expected more. It's not the same when you watch something on your own volition, despite knowing it's trash, like me, because I hate everything. When someone insists it's underrated, it raises your expectations so much, you are given no choice but to hate it for expecting far more. So when big shots like Crunchyroll and Gigak are constantly telling you you should like something you don't, as the king of shonen anime, you get a very negative backlash. The only ones who would get butthurt out of this are the ones who already watch it because they are either plebs or sellouts, like this guy. And finally, this guy made the mistake of thinking everybody was shitting on other shonen while this one got a pass or something. That is not true. Just as many were trashing Bleach and Fairy Tail, and just like before, if they dropped it, they stopped talking about it. Those shows had a lot of hype while they were airing, exactly like Black Clover. Most of the negativity became apparent when they were over and the sellouts stopped hyping them because it wasn't making them money anymore, and their plebs weren't getting their weekly drug, so they began complaining because they were going through withdrawal. So this entire situation is what happens with pretty much any hyped shonen, and why none of you should be falling for the same bullshit after watching the videos of someone who watches everything and hates them all.
Pretty good news for My Hero Academia's anime. My Hero Academia anime's 4th season listed with 25 episodes. Good news for the My Hero Academia anime. So we got 25 episodes season 4. This might be one of the best of the year.
You just care about more episodes? Don't you have anything to say about the actual quality of the series or something?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was filler. Don't quote me, I really don't remember any of it. Can't really remember a lot of things about the series. From my understanding, from my memory, it was filler. It might have happened in the manga, but I really don't remember.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
My Hero Academia Season 4, baby, let's go!
So a guy was asking why isn't anyone talking about Alicization? Even the hater has remained silent about it, so what gives? Someone summed up most of it in one comment. Most Soutards gave up because they realized it was crap all along, while the rest who are still Soutards can't take criticism and don't have any discussion with anyone who disagrees. It's true, when I posted the video about SAO being the same as the Shield hero in the SAO subreddit, these are the answers I got. The comments on episode topics are just a circle jerk of people saying how awesome it's going to be when something happens, instead of talking about if they like the episode. The rest of it was covered by someone else's comment. The haters are also staying silent, since beyond the first few episodes nobody was talking about Alicization anymore. The plot became super slow and most of it was people sitting down and info dumping, so what is there to say? If the very fans of SAO don't bother to hype it, and the few who still like it never debate because they can't take criticism, then the haters have no reason to bother shitting on it anymore. The hype died out years ago and now people move to hyping other stuff, more specifically the Shield hero, which, as it has been proven, it's the exact same thing as SAO. It's not like the community learned from its mistake, they are still hyping the exact same shit. Which brings us back to everybody who was hyping Alicization as SAO finally becoming good. How helpful is that quote that everyone is constantly using? Answer number 1. If SAO finally got better, why is almost nobody watching it or talking about it? Is it because they liked SAO while it was shit, and not now that it's finally good? Could that mean that the fandom of SAO was comprised of tens of thousands of casual gamers who were only watching it as trash entertainment and stopped caring after it became serious? Air quotes. Because if that's the case, then it's not the masterpiece of good writing and deep themes everyone was making it seem to be at first. They loved it while it was garbage and gave up on it after it improved its writing. What does that say about the fandom of SAO? Answer number 2. It doesn't matter if something gets better. Very few have the patience to wait 50 episodes of pure garbage before a show finally gets good, and would rather watch a show that is good right away. Unless, of course, they skip everything up to the point it gets better, which means they don't care if they have no clue who are these people and how they got where they are right now. It's like watching the highlights of something instead of the whole thing. Answer number 3. SAO never got better because nothing ever gets better. You just get used to the bullshit and you accept it no matter what's actually going on. Those who don't believe it give up, and those who still believe it after 50 episodes no longer give a shit. They don't accept criticism and they stay in the safe space of the circle jerk they formed. Which is also the stupidity behind asking fans of a show if they like that show. What exactly do you expect they will say? Try asking the We Hate SAO subreddit if they like SAO and be amazed at their replies.
One of the most anticipated anime has arrived, The Promised Neverland. Who cares about that? It's very disappointing. It actually has subtleties, it has context, foreshadowing, there's just so much to it. I've seen a lot of controversy surrounding it, and I ain't gonna lie, it's just incredible, honestly. Not special at all, boring as shit. When I read the manga, yeah, it did catch me, it did grab me, it did get me to read more. I'm not caught up on the manga. I don't want to be based on what I'm hearing. 10 out of 10 for a first episode. What more could you ask that's downright terrible at this point. Incredible. That sounds horrid. Very well done. Really horrible and incredible first episode. I wouldn't really give a shit. I personally thought it was great. I could give a rat's ass about incredible stuff again. Just loved it. Like, if we really give a shit, it was phenomenal to me. It has gone downhill. I loved episode 1 of The Promised Neverland. That's very disappointing. Highly recommend. Check it out. Kept going downhill further and further. Became a typical shonen. A lot of shonen series, they start off pretty strong and people love them, and as they go on throughout the years, they get worse and worse.
I found this thread on Reddit where someone was asking if the second season of an anime can be considered the anime of the season. Many said it can't because sequels have an unfair advantage, since only the ones who still like the show will be watching it and thus will take much more praise than it deserves. I somewhat agree with this sentiment, but only when it has to do with compiling top lists based on public statistics. The most obvious example is the top 20 highest rated anime on Mal. Gintama takes up a third of the entries because it has that many sequels. You're not gonna mention the same title 7 times in a top 20, you will mention it only once. And you're not gonna pick the most recent season as the proper indicator for where it stands in terms of ratings, you're gonna pick the first one. Since it's the one most have watched and the one with a score that reflects best what most people think about it. That being said, the best title of a season is not limited to the season it began airing. It doesn't stop being the best just because it lasts more than a dozen episodes. Legend of the Galactic Heroes wasn't the best anime only for one season in 1988, it was the best anime for a whole decade. There can be a distinction when talking about the best of whatever by separating them into the best ongoing title and the best new title. Even Crunchyroll does that, and Crunchyroll is shit. The reason some don't like this distinction is because they are seasonal hypetards who want something new to dick ride every few months before they completely forget its existence. Also, the claim about sequels getting more attention than they deserve doesn't work half the times, so it's not a very good excuse. Most first seasons get their initial audience by the manga or novel they are adapted from. How is that not unfavorable to original series that don't get a boost in popularity from pre-existing material? Even amongst original series, the ones that are made by a famous studio or are directed by a famous person always get far more attention than those made by minor studios and the newcomers in general. So let's stop this nonsense about a show being the best only for one season. Quality is not limited to 3 months. Legend of the Galactic Heroes was the anime of the season and anime of the year and best ongoing anime for a decade, and it still is the best anime ever made decades after it ended.
Tokyo Ghoul, it wasn't perfect. The storytelling was A1. The second half of dipped in quality. One of my favorite and one of the best manga out there, period. It looks like it could be a drawing from Tokyo Ghoul. I can't really remember. Heist? Is it Heist? I can't even remember anymore. Sui Ishida was mentally going through it. That's why he had to wrap up Tokyo Ghoul. He's one of the best out there. I can't wait to see what's about to go down, baby. Let's go! I'm honestly not sure what the heck is this supposed to be.
This is my favorite book.
I'm really excited, but again, I'm not really sure.
I haven't read it, but I can say it's my favorite book ever.
This is freaking huge. I don't know what the hell is going on here.
It's on the top of my list.
I can't freaking wait. I don't even know.
I'm so happy.
Sui Ishida back, baby. Let's go. Who knows what's going on here?
This is my favorite book.
I can't wait to see what this shit is all about. Let's go.
I haven't read it, but I can say it's my favorite book ever.
Maybe I'm off on that. I don't freaking know. Like, I'm just so excited, yo.
It's on the top of my list.
Yo, Sui Ishida back, baby.
I'm so happy.
As the adaptation of Tower of God comes closer, before it moves further and further away because of the T-Virus, the buzz around it gets bigger. Someone made a topic asking why are people hyped about it, and he only got a few replies. Some of you think it's going to be a big deal when it finally comes out, but it won't. The lack of Reddit responses proves it. It's not a Japanese product, it's not animated by a huge studio, and not many care about Korean webcomics in general. The Tower of God is going to be a blip compared to the dozens of upcoming sequels of Japanese manga and light novels. As for the very few people who are hyped, what do you think they have to say about it? They are excited just because it gets adapted and because it's paving the way for more webcomic adaptations. That's it, not a single word about being actually good. So it's basically the exact same thing as the libtards were doing for so many years. Complaining about more diverse characters, celebrating every time there is a gay man or a black woman in a movie, calling a masterpiece every show or movie that has LGBT characters, and then nobody watched those titles and they all flopped. Because nobody was giving a shit if someone is gay or black, they just wanted a good show to watch and they never got it because the only thing the libtards were doing were promoting an agenda instead of making good shows. So we have the exact same thing going on here. A handful of people who are excited about representation for representation's sake. So we can have more web cartoon adaptations for which not many care about. It's like wishing for a disaster to happen. And yes, there is always the possibility that the show will be a success and webcomic adaptations are going to be the next fad. In the same way the success of Haruhi opened the floodgates for light novel adaptations, and the success of Sword Art Online opened the floodgates for isekai adaptations. And look at all the wonderful shows we got thanks to that. It was terrible, okay? Webcomics are the same trash as light novels. We will just get more trash, which will be watched by a lot less people, because there is not much of an audience for Korean webcomics. It will be terrible. Stop wanting trash just so you can get more trash. There is nothing good about trash. You have so many shows that you ignore in the good old retro times. They don't need to be represented for the sake of being represented so we can get more representation, because they already exist. Just go and watch those. They are retro and thus automatically better than the modern web trash you are trying to hype right now.
The Shaman King new 2021 anime is going to be a Netflix anime. Shaman King is about to go to the gutter. The hype is not going to be there at all because unless you pirate it, Shaman King in the West isn't legally going to be available to us. There's not going to be no hype. Nobody really is going to be talking about it, and it's going to be dead in the water. You gotta release these episodes weekly. I understand they like to throw everything out at one time. You're killing the titles. The 7 Deadly Sins, I honestly think, would have been 10 times bigger than it ultimately was if it not been for Netflix grabbing the license. Like, once Netflix got the license and we gotta wait 6 months after the Japanese release to get the episodes, it was dead in the water. And more than likely, the same thing is gonna happen with Shaman King. You can't do that when it comes to these weekly anime. You are killing the fandom. You would be a lot better off releasing these episodes week to week, similar to what happened with the 7 Deadly Sins and why it's not as popular as it should be. Minus the fact that, they already messed everything up with what they did with the animation and all that. In general, it would have been way more popular if they just released it weekly, so that way we could all, be in on the hype.
Over the years, we have experienced several instances of that mysterious black magic that somehow messes with reality and changes completely something without even touching it. We saw it with the ogre who claimed every time a show was ending, someone was breaking in his house and was somehow taking it away from him.
Dragon Ball Super's ending, King Tama's almost over, Hajime no Ippo's ending, Magi just ended, everything that I love is ending, you're taking it all from me, you really want to take it all from me, huh? Just everything.
We also saw the anime man claiming that every video that gets demonetized by YouTube mysteriously disappears and nobody can watch it anymore.
My channel is in danger. None of it is making me any money anymore. 1/3 of my videos gone. It's just gone. Not getting any money off of it anymore.
The latest victim of this reality-altering black magic is this guy on Reddit who claims the anime of My Hero Academia is somehow ruining the manga. Some spell that is cast by an episode affects every printed volume of the manga and makes it worse. It's not killing the hype, thus people no longer care about the anime or something, it is making it worse.
Not getting any money off of it anymore.
Once again we see an example of the special snowflakes that make up the majority of modern anime fans. Hype and making money is what makes something good. If it's no longer airing, so you can keep being hyped and paid for it, they take it away from you.
You're taking it all from me, you really want to take it all from me.
If you can't feel nice by making money out of cringy Japanese garbage, it's gone forever.
Gone. It's just gone.
And if you can't be hyped about future manga content because the anime is horribly made, then it is ruined. Hype and profit are like white magic to these people. They make them feel nice and alter their perception of a product to the point where without hype and making money, they don't like it. This is the poor state of modern anime. They are only good while they are airing, because as soon as they are over people lose interest, and thus they are not good anymore. If you can't make money out of something, then it's the same as not existing. And if a manga stopped being overhyped by everyone 24/7, then it's ruined. Modern anime are dead, and these people killed them. Only retro fans like me keep them alive, because we still like them after they are over, after they are not hyped anymore, and despite not making money out of them, since they are not the hottest new thing everyone is talking about right now. Clown World!
You're taking money from me. The start of a new era of anime has officially begun with today, April 1st, 2020. I promise you, it is not a joke, it's not a lie. This is honestly the start of something really big that is going to make waves within the anime industry. A lot of anime companies really haven't dabbled into too much yet, because the only major webtoon anime that we have gotten over the years is Tower of God, God of High School, and we also had Noblest.
As always, the hype morons want you to think everything is amazing, even when it's trash.
Nobody is really paying attention to the Faraway Paladin. If the Faraway Paladin came out in a different anime season, everybody would be talking about this anime. But thanks to this season being glorious and having so much good content, there's going to be a lot of hidden gems, a lot of dark horses that are going to slide under the radar because there's a lot of anime.
The Faraway Paladin is a generic show in a subpar season full of completely forgettable anime.
You gotta pick and choose sometimes what you can watch and what you cannot watch, and you're gonna throw something else to the side. And the Faraway Paladin seems to be one of those anime that is getting that type of treatment. People will just throw a series to the side because the beginning of it is rather slow, and it's not action-packed and instantly engaging from the first episode. You know, people just want to get to see all that content and be like, man, this is epic, this is crazy, and the Faraway Paladin doesn't really have that.
If not many are watching it, it's not because everything is good in this season, but rather because almost everyone is watching what is well animated or has a lot of food for thought. The Faraway Paladin has neither of that.
Everything about the beginning section of the Faraway Paladin has definitely been something that would turn off a lot of people from watching it, because it doesn't have that high-octane action, it doesn't have that, you know, bizzazzed art animation that really just blows your mind, and so people that are sitting down and watch it are like, wow, this is just very slow, should I really even continue watching this when there's already so much great content already from this anime season?
Not being engaging right away is a very big issue, and yet he's underplaying it. Why would someone watch a show he doesn't like when he has 40 other anime to choose from and who knows how many more movies and live-action series?
Mushoku Tensei was literally the exact same way. I remember people not really caring about Mushoku Tensei at all because of the slow pacing, and the only thing that really got people was that art and animation.
Yes, Chibi, that is why people didn't want to watch Mushoku. It wasn't the pedo protagonist, it was the slow pacing. And the rest of them are watching it now for the background art, not because they love the pedo protagonist.
I feel like the story is just getting started. It has so much potential and so much room to grow, and I love the character, and I can't wait to see where the character develops because of what's going on right now within the story.
Slow pacing doesn't ruin a good show, but the Faraway Paladin is a generic show nobody will remember by the next season.
The whole wait and everything was worth it, and I really cannot wait to see what's gonna happen.
Chibi's just overhyping it because he's a hype moron, and he too will stop talking about it when he realizes it doesn't make him enough views. Because that is what hype is all about, making generic shows to sound like masterpieces and bad seasons to be the best shit ever.
The people behind Death Note and Bakuman, both of them are back together again for a new manga. The hype is fucking real. I trust these two so much because, I mean, both of their, collaborative works have been absolutely amazing. I trust these motherfuckers and just can't fucking wait. The Death Note and Bakuman motherfuckers are the shit, and I'm looking forward to this. This is gonna be even bigger than Death Note and Bakuman. They can do it.
This is my favorite book. I haven't read it, but I can say it's my favorite book ever.
I fucking love this shit. Like, it's very reminiscent of Future Diary. We're gonna have a bunch of fucking psychos trying to get that power of God. And imagine you have really awesome writers like the people behind Death Note and Bakuman to make something like Future Diary, only without the problems that it had. 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 for this one. I'm fucking hype. I can't wait. Since this is monthly, this won't be a problem at all for me to review.
It's on the top of my list. I'm so happy.
I don't know, because I never read too far into the manga or anything like that to see how the characters are gonna be or whatnot, but I ain't gonna lie, from what we got so far with this first episode, it's looking mighty promising. Potentially anime of the fall 2021 season. Best anime. But I'm interested to see where all of this goes in general, because story-wise, it is just phenomenally exciting, to say the least. And again, I've said this before, I'll say it one more time, the creators of Death Note are behind this one, and I trust their pen. I trust their pen. I loved Bakuman. I love Death Note. I think these guys are gonna make something great, and I'm here for the ride. I'm sold already. I'm absolutely sold. I only read the first couple chapters, so the rest of this is going to be new to me. I'm imagining it's going to be hype because Tsugumi, Obata, and Oba, we're in for a treat, lads. Platinum End anime. Let's go, baby. I've waited 6 years for this moment. Platinum End. I think we got one, people. I think we got one. Let's go. Can't freaking wait.
As expected, the closer the Bleach continuation comes, the more the hype morons will be trying to excite you about it for the clout. It's as if they don't know most shonen tards are into it for speculating what will happen next, instead of what is happening now. The manga is over, people moved on to other things, yet the hype morons assume Bleach is going to be amazing as it was back in the Big 3 era, when it obviously won't. If you noticed, 90% of every chapter analysis video is not about the chapter, but about what will happen next. AKA fanfiction about things that didn't happen and will probably never happen the way they expect them to. How will they do that with Bleach, a completed manga? Everyone knows what's going to happen next, everyone has already overanalyzed every aspect of it all these years, everyone has seen the Bankais and nobody likes the ending. So what are the hype morons going to do to keep you excited with the nonsense they will be talking about? Are they gonna be speculating which chapters the next episode is gonna cover? Will they be drinking copium and speculate how the ending is going to be expanded? Who gives a shit? People moved on to Jujutsu Kaisen, a still ongoing manga, and the spiritual successor of Bleach, where the shonen tards are free to speculate all they want about the power levels of Gojo and Sukuna. Bleach is over. There is nothing to be excited about. Not even nostalgia can save it, since everyone hated the manga ending. The hype morons are better off forgetting about it and going back to One Piece theories. Something, Blackbeard is a hippopotamus with 3 heads and will lure an ultra instinct in the dark continent, something.
Hype news because Shinobu Otaka is coming out with a new series, and honestly, if she can do anything like the peak of what Magi was in terms of quality writing and stuff like that, it'll be insane. I am a massive fan of the series Magi. This is an author that I trust. Magi was an incredible series. That Magi greatness. I mean, for crying out loud, I even named my daughter after one of the characters from Magi because it was just that impactful to me. Overall, Magi is just a really awesome series, so to see that she is returning with a new work makes me through the moon because Magi was one of my favorites. So when I heard the creator of Magi, Shinobu Otaka, was coming with another one, I was like, prepare yourself, guys. Like, we're going in again. The art looks incredible, very Magi-like, because the creator of Magi, honestly, her pen game is just fascinating. I'm really excited because Magi was insane, the art looks great, the concept sounds interesting, and if Shinobu Otaka is going to bring her pen, this could be the next, at the very least, high quality shonen. Magi itself was such a deep and complex story. I'm very excited for Orient because Orient sounds like it could be something. Shinobu Otaka, her art game is there. I'm excited. In 2018, when I heard that Shinobu Otaka was starting a new manga called Orient, I was like, oh snap, we would definitely be able to use a really high quality shonen to try and and give a run for its money to a lot of the big contenders right now. I want to say I had read a bit of that first chapter way back when, but honestly it was like a blur to me because I didn't really remember anything other than like, hey, the character designs look kind of familiar. I can't wait for this. We got the first episode of the anime and I was excited. I was like, oh yeah.
When The Devil is a Part-Timer came out back in 2013, a lot of people loved it because they had never seen a reverse isekai before. It's otherwise nothing special, just another adaptation of a light novel, and a 5 out of 10 at best. For a decade, many were constantly asking when is another season coming out, and were really excited when they finally heard it's coming. They hyped the living hell out of this show before it came out, then the first season aired and the entire community forgot its existence. How is that possible when they were so hyped up about it? It's not because there were a lot better shows to follow in the same season, because that's what happened with the first season as well. The answer is, because what they were actually interested in was getting another season, not actually watching another season. That's what the mentality of always being hyped for more products leads you to. It's not about liking the product, it's about getting it, and to then be excited for more products. That is obviously not true for all products. Actually, good series will be enjoyed by a lot of people, but in this case, we don't have a good show. We have yet another possible light novel adaptation. The sequel is also not as good as the first season. It had a different art style, it had a lower budget, its plot was dumber by including a comic relief baby. People had watched better reverse isekai during the decade of its absence, and those who read the ending of the novel found it to be terrible. Basically, everything was against this anime since it didn't do something better than the first, and the hype only enlarged the disappointment. Just another sequel that failed to live up to its expectations, the same way most sequels fail. It was once again proven that there is no point in being hyped for what is to come, since it is almost certain that it will never going to be as good as you think it's going to be. You should enjoy what you have now, and in case there is more to come, you should have no expectations, so you won't be disappointed, even if it's worse, which it most likely going to be. Screw being excited for stuff that haven't come out yet, and screw theory crafting regarding what you think will happen. The less you act like a monkey on hit, the more you will actually enjoy the final product.
We truly are living in the golden age of anime.
Everybody that is in charge of the editorial department has almost seemingly given up on some of the latest generations of manga.
At the very least, we're in the golden year for anime.
Everything is winding down. My Hero's winding down. Black Clover's winding down. This generation is winding down.
These upcoming seasons is just gonna be insane. I mean, I cannot begin to imagine the amount of discussion, the amount of love, and how many people are gonna be just raving and talking about all the stuff that's going to be coming out.
The next generation of manga, or so I thought was going to be the next generation of manga, ain't looking like the heavy hitters that I thought they were going to be.
The amount of stuff that's coming out this year that is going to be making waves and blowing people away, and it's going to have people just fanboying, fangirling, and the community is going to be up and debating about so many different things, is ridiculous.
Everything stopped ranking because it's not performing well enough. Black Clover didn't rank. I would have thought Black Clover probably would have picked up a bit of steam with that big reveal. Everybody was talking about the big reveal. Didn't do enough to really boost things up.
There is so much. I am actually just super excited for it.
Elusive Samurai after that first week has not ranked. Witch Watch after that first week has not ranked. P did not rank at all. Doron Dororong, that's out of here, and Sugamaro's out of here again. Like, yo, yeah, I didn't rank. And
there is so many anime that is just going to be insane. Like, they're going to blow us all away. It's going to be a packed year.
Bubble is out on Netflix. This is big news because in case you don't know about Bubble, music done by the composer that did Naruto Shippuden Fairy Tail, story by the dude that did Fate Zero, Madoka Magica, character designs by the artist of Death Note. The list goes on and on. I'm telling you, those are 3 highlights alone, but that's one of the things that attracted me immediately. I was like, oh my god, and then the animation and art, and I started watching it, fell asleep. I watched 20 minutes and I'm like, oh shit, what happened to Bubble?
I was taking a step back and just thinking about what is coming out. It's like, holy crap, what a year. Like, really, what a year of high production. A lot of good stuff coming out.
Chojin X right now still hasn't hooked people on, because I don't see a big push to make Choji and X big or anything like that.
There's so many good things that's going to be coming out, and I am super hyped. And like I said, this is a small fraction of things, like I've just already discussed in this video, because there's so many other things I'm probably neglected to mention, maybe just slipped my mind, or it's just yet to be announced. It's going to be announced, you know, that's the point. It's crazy.
Now!
You probably don't remember it, but a year ago there was an anime called To Your Eternity. Everyone was talking about it back then, calling it big fiction because it was very sad. In my review of it, I called it cry porn that keeps repeating itself until the viewer doesn't care anymore, and nobody will remember it in a year from now. I would have shown you the comments I got on YouTube, but the video got flagged by fanboys, so I can't. I only got the comments from Anime Planet, which kept saying I was stupid. There is a huge community of loyal fans. The second season is coming out next year, and everyone is going to be talking about it. You are wrong, snob, and you are stupid to believe this big fiction is going to be forgotten. Now, you probably didn't notice it, but the second season of this big fiction is airing as we speak, and nobody's watching or talking about it. It's like it doesn't exist. People are asking why nobody's watching it, and guess what the replies they get are? Exactly what I had said about it in my review. Who's the one who is stupid and wrong now, assholes? The snob was proven right as always!
Out of the hundreds upon hundreds and countless masterpieces of storytelling I have read over the years, I have never seen an author tell a story quite like Fujimoto Sensei. It's honestly mind-blowing, is breathtaking, incredible, gives you so much raw emotion, and such a distinct piece of storytelling that I have just never seen on the same level. It's actually shocking just how much just leaves you in awe. It's mind-blowing. It really is. How can this author continuously do stuff like this to me? Like, sweep the rug from underneath me and blow me away.
What's going on with these videos made by Anime Balls Deep? Naruto's second son shocks everyone. Really? I wasn't shocked by that. I was more shocked with people who are still waiting for Boruto to get good after 5 years. Demon Slayer just blew everyone's mind. It did. I know a lot of people who didn't give a shit. Maybe they were shocked with how a mediocre shonen with a crappy ending won the Anime of the Decade award just because it had pretty colors. Naruto made everyone cry. It did. Who is this everyone you speak of? Is it an individual, or am I supposed to believe over 7 billion people cried over Jiraiya's clone? Tekuvir's overhaul blew everyone's mind. With what? The realization there was no tension because Deku was unstoppable and no longer broke his limbs? One Piece just blew everyone's mind. Oh, it blew their mind. It didn't make them cry like that editor who cried over Luffy's farting. Black Clover made everyone cry. Okay, seriously, what is this, everyone, if I am not part of it? And is there something wrong with me for not crying like everybody else over fucking nothing? Oh well, maybe it's just Anime Balls Deep that does that. If I check out Anime Uproar, I'm sure he's not going to be. It's the same shit. The exact same words. And it's the same with every other channel that is dick riding shonen crap. I am shocked with how everyone is using the same words, and I feel like crying out loud with how easily everybody falls for it.
This was on purpose. This wasn't tone deaf. This was, what's a trending topic? Let's put out an article and just get those clicks.
My Hero Academia really has become the black sheep of anime. There is a lot of people out there that look at My Hero Academia like a joke. So My Hero Academia is trending worldwide.
Normal people do not use Twitter. It's been taken over by activists, the media.
Twitter has not come forth with information on how they calculate the bot percentages on their platform because they know it will expose them.
The overall community has shifted away from My Hero. Good portion, a good segment of the community does believe that My Hero Academia isn't good anymore. It's been trending basically since early this morning.
It's been used as a PR machine for advertising agencies, PR firms.
The real number of bots is 30-40%. If I'm paying for 100,000 impressions, you're charging me 100,000 impressions, and I found out that 40% of them were fake, I want 40% refund on the money.
The overall conversation of My Hero has dwindled. Nobody is talking about My Hero Academia. Earlier this morning was like in the top 5 best trending worldwide.
It's absolutely smoke and mirrors. It has a very overvalued impact on society.
There are people that have spent millions advertising on the platform. 40% of that spend was fraudulent.
Nobody's talking about My Hero Academia Season 4, nobody's really making a lot of videos on it, nobody's talking about it, and obviously the community is talking about it, there's a lot of people talking about it.
Media outlets that spend all this time on Twitter, parroting tweets and articles, and getting people to think that Twitter is much, much more important than it actually is.
I was very shocked about that. It was legitimately shocking just to see the lack of just conversation around the My Hero Academia anime.
And it has become ground zero for cancel culture, ground zero for a lot of the weird shit we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years in this country.
I've stated many times how popularity does not equate to quality. It's something even the grifters understand, but use it regardless because they can attract more suckers that way.
Popularity does not equate to quality.
Most people have no critical thinking, they don't know what counts as good, so they gravitate towards whatever a lot of people seem to like, by assuming if a lot of people like something, it has to be good. Even if most said people also have no critical thinking, and also don't know what counts as good. It's basically someone deceiving himself by trusting others who also deceived themselves. So how does that work? How does a show that doesn't have critical acclaim, because almost nobody has critical thinking, manages to become popular in the first place?
Bleach is trending in the top 15.
The answer is buzz. Many people talking about a show at the same time. The more people talk, the more the casuals with no critical thinking gravitate towards that show, and that's how it becomes popular.
I'm tired and sick to death of people looking at it as popularity is the biggest thing.
It sounds reasonable until you realize buzz doesn't really prove anything regarding the quality of a show, the same way popularity does not equate to quality.
The fact that I'm seeing it on number 12 trending makes me so ecstatic.
Popularity is artificial inflation created by buzz, which is more artificial inflation. Buzz is seemingly people talking about a show that interests them at the moment, but that does not mean the show in question is good, according to the gold standards of good storytelling.
Popularity at the end of the day is all numbers.
As someone who has been watching movies and series for several decades, I have experienced hundreds of times what it's like to have a lot of people talking about nothing of worth. The first time I encountered it in anime was with Elfen Lied, a complete train wreck in terms of plot that attracted a lot of people because they had never seen such a perverted and violent anime airing on television before. That is what created a lot of buzz and in turn attracted even more people who assumed it's a good show because a lot of people were talking about it.
You see it trending like this, that's incredible.
This hasn't changed ever since. Every season something perverted and violent will come out, and thousands will be flocking to it, because a lot of people are talking about how perverted and violent it is, so it has to be good. If it's not that, then it's going to be some other bullshit, like symbolism or mystery bait or cute girls. Nothing that proves the show in question is good, since what matters is execution, something which requires critical thinking, and how many have that?
People gotta stop being closed-minded, gotta stop following the herd of popularity, and at the end of the day, quality over popularity 24/7.
As long as it's about a cool idea, sexualized children, objectified women, and lots of symbolism that can be interpreted however the fuck you want to, they will be talking about it. And that only counts for when actual people talk about it, because nowadays it's very easy to manipulate buzz. Just paid sellouts or Russian bots to generate artificial buzz and see the gullible idiots flocking to a show they would otherwise not give a damn about. So it's technically fake buzz, creating fake popularity for attracting people who have fooled themselves to think the show is good.
I am so tired of people pulling the popularity card.
All of that shit can be easily avoided if you have critical thinking, or if you just realize buzz and popularity mean absolutely nothing in terms of quality. Unless, of course, you are lonely and depressed, and want to feel special by joining a herd of equally lonely and depressed people who constantly fool themselves to think they are happy to consume quality products because they have a lot of buzz, and to then be excited for consuming the next quality products that the Russian bots will be hyping on Twitter.
Number 12 on trending. Lycoris Recoil is probably the most popular anime in Japan. Have you been recently regaining some faith in humanity? Well, if you have, I'm here to squash that feeling. Trending with over 500,000 tweets on social media, people were in love with the series before it kind of fell off the trending tab on Twitter. It's very positive impressions overall. Individuals that are attacking the staff. The series was trending in a massive way. A lot of people were talking about it because the finale came out yesterday. This Chinese board or whatever actually sending a mob, a hate mob after the staff to attack the individual because they didn't get a Yuri ending. Lycoris Recoil is the most popular in Japan. The question I think many are going to start wondering is why there was no Yuri ending. When I look at everything, when I look at the series and just its overall explosion of popularity, it makes a lot of sense for a few reasons. Shipping wars, here you go. If you're a good writer, if you know how to do execution on these said cliches, you can turn the most cliche thing into the most heartbreaking and emotional journey that you could experience. There is a lot of backlash, a lot of outrage that people didn't get the conclusion they wanted. The people that were working on this, they did a fantastic job. You had these individuals literally sending hate mobs after the staff because they didn't get what they wanted. I do think it's a very solid story and it deserves the love it has been getting. Was your brain made for Majima's cum? Bro. This series has been really doing a good job with Chisato, our main female character. Look at this. It is true that only people who have been NTR by women will write such a rubbish ending. The way the character is handled is just, honestly, it's the best part about the entirety of the series. No one cares what narcissistic sexuality you have. Just like, bro, easily one of my favorite villains of 2022. You are a despicable liar and failed screenwriter. Such a phenomenal scene. Your writing is as good as The Last of Us. The story beats, music, visuals, everything, every department, I would say 10 out of 10 scene. You better think about what the audience wants more. The creator should set up the right values to the audience instead of making a bad guy play the leading role. It's a very emotional scene. Attack the staff because you didn't get the ending you wanted. I love Mika as a character. Mika is just so freaking good. Such a good character. Once again, another reason to not like shipping wars.
Here is another example of the joke this community has turned into. On the left side you see videos they were making about Kizaru, the latest adversary Luffy is about to face. They gassed him up as an unstoppable force able to defeat everyone. On the right side you see the same people switching it around now and showing Kizaru being a pushover that Luffy's going to easily pulverize. They do this with every character in every event. When somebody appears, they instantly think he's god level and nothing can stop him. A few weeks later, he's fodder. Rinse and repeat with the next character that will appear. This is not something exclusive to One Piece, I'm only showing this one because it's what's currently trending. Right before that it was Gojo versus Sukuna, as if we didn't know the outcome. They do the same in every shonen for decades. Every week the internet is filled with photoshopped images of what is definitely happening now, and it's always going to shock you. It's fake news done for the sake of hype. The man with the shotgun can appear in the preview and they are going to gas him up as being stronger than Zeno. There are a lot of people who are falling for such clickbaits and tuning to see the latest twist. And there is always one, every week, in every new chapter of every ongoing series, which is always undone a few weeks later, thus it didn't mean anything in the long run. Plus it was a lie, and it works since nobody minds the lies. They treat them as a dopamine fix, or a what-if theory that keeps them engaged. They don't care about what is actually happening, they don't want actual content, they want hype. And if you think there is nothing wrong with that since it's just a method to keep the community engaged, I have to remind you that this is what makes fandoms toxic. They eventually believe most of these lies. They make headcanons that overlap what is actually happening, and get really pissed off when what they were sure it was canon ends up not being canon. That's why they attack anyone who tells them anything other than the lie they believe in. That's why they burn their manga collections when a story ends with a different ship than the one they were certain was canon. That's why they send death threats to the creators of the very stories they're supposed to be fan of. And that's why they burn down entire studios and kill dozens of people. So no, these lies are not harmless clickbaits for the sake of keeping people hyped and engaged. They are causing dementia to the easily impressionable people, which is a lot easier to happen with anime fans who are either antisocial, or depressed, or ornery, or autistic, or all of that at the same time. They don't like reality, so they turn to fiction and they support it because it makes them happy, even if it's a lie. And in case some of you don't find anything bad about that, I need to remind you these people are supposed to be fans of certain shows, yet whatever they like doesn't exist in the shows they claim they like. And in fact they go as far as harming, both mentally and physically, both the fans of those shows as well as the creators of everything they're supposed to like. So no, this is not a harmless game, this is a sickness of the mind, and any channel that keeps doing it is spreading that sickness. One Piece channels being among the worst offenders with their endless theories about everything making sense and everything being foreshadowed, only to be proven wrong every single time and attack everyone who was telling them the truth all along. It's why you should not support them, and why you should be making fun of them as often as you can. They are the actual cancer that destroys not only the anime community, but any community in any medium. Fuck these people and fuck their lies.
We're gonna go see the Demon Slayer movie. I got my kiddos with me. I bought the tickets. We was all fully aware that it wasn't a new movie. It was basically the last 2 episodes of season 2. I had the fight of my life to stay awake. I was snoring up a storm. I just was fighting so hard to stay awake in there, dog. I was fighting so bad. It was like, I think it was because I already had seen this. Me and like half of my kids as well were sleeping, dog. Man, yo, I want to talk about this and I've been waiting to see this. I spent this money, but I'm so tired, bro. This is making me, oh my god. And a lot of that was mainly during the season 2 stuff, you know what I'm saying? The recap or the re-airing, so to speak, of that. So I'm getting episodes I've already seen, which cool of an experience, but still it's not something that, like, you know, the suspense is gone. I've already seen this, I've read this, you know, I've already experienced this multiple times in multiple different mediums. There's no shocking wow factor for me to be like, yeah, let's fucking go. It's gone. That's gone. For the money you spend to go see this, it's not worth it. Fighting like the war of my life to stay awake throughout this movie, falling asleep chunks of times. Me and my kids were fully aware this is not a movie. This is a re-airing of 2 episodes, and the fact that my kiddos fell asleep with me too. I was disappointed. As an experience, it was disappointing, and in general, I just didn't feel like it was worth the money. I really wanted to enjoy it, I ain't gonna lie. Obviously, I went with all my kids, but just, you know, half of us were sleeping. My daughter was asleep 20 minutes into it. I embarrassed my kiddos because people were laughing and turning around because on the quiet scenes, I was snoring my mind off, like, and it's like, damn, if that don't say everything about how I felt.
So, from what I hear, this new manga Kakura Bachi got a lot of hype by its first chapter alone, as if it did something most manga don't do that well. I checked it out and what did you know, it's completely average. There is nothing special about it that would excuse a fraction of the hype it got. Every manga that was very popular, at least in the beginning, achieved it by having a banger pilot chapter. There is nothing that can be considered a banger in this one. There is no 9 tails attacking a village, there is no robbery pirate, there are no giant naked zombies eating people alive. It's just a guy with a sword. That's fucking it. Not a guy with chainsaws for arms, not a guy with huge transforming swords, and not a steampunk Spider-Man. Just a guy with a sword, fighting average people with swords. There is hardly any battle choreography. There is barely any characterization for the villains. The artwork is average at best. And the main character is not victimized. I'm sorry, but this is how this shit sells these days. You have to victimize him, and this one is not victimized. He's just edgy without any explanation. Which, yes, it can be explained in a later chapter, but it doesn't give you any reason to feel sorry about him now. or to want him to get his sweet, sweet revenge porn because he's just a guy with a sword. He has nobody to protect, nobody to feel bad about dying, and no cool superpowers. In any other manga, he would be a tertiary character barely sing in the background. Therefore, this manga does not deserve its hype. I know some will try to defend it as if hype is all a manga needs these days. Not quality, just people talking about it. But it sets the bar so high for what it is, it won't get an organic growth of people who actually like it, but rather people who will be curious to see what's so special about it, and it will end up being hated for tricking people into thinking it's going to be a masterpiece. Thus we got another example of why hype is the worst thing that can happen to any story, because it only causes people to hate it.
Some really awesome news. The creator of Katekyo Hitman Reborn is finally getting another anime, and it's of the series called Ed Alive. I've been really wanting to check it out because, first of all, Akira Amano, I loved Hitman Reborn. Based on her track record, I'm definitely excited. I'm looking forward to it. And either way, it's Akira Amano. I'll definitely check this out. Fans of Akira Amano, aka the creator of Katekyo Hitman Reborn, she's had a new series for quite some time. There was that series that ran for a little bit called, I believe it was Ed Alive, and it had an anime adaptation. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really think it was a good series. But then, as of recent, the last few years, they've had a series called Ran Komonohashi. And I do think that there's an anime for it, if I'm not mistaken, that I'm really, really disappointed in myself that I have not watched yet. The first season of the manga's anime adaptation will premiere in October. Okay, so the anime isn't out. I'm super bugging. What am I even saying? I'll probably even cut that part out. And yeah, that's definitely a must-watch because Akira Amano, maybe Ed Alive wasn't great per se, but Akira Amano is an awesome writer, and Katekyo Hitman Reborn was great. We know Kishimoto, his Samurai 8 got canceled after coming back to Shonen Jump for about a year. Akira Amano tried her hand with a couple of different series on Shonen Jump Plus, and neither one of them have really exploded in popularity. Ryuhei Tamura, he's tried a bunch of different times to get a series going in Jump, and it didn't work. A lot of these authors that they had these hit works in Shonen Jump, they really didn't, like, none of them really returned with big smash hits again to the magazine, which showcases a little bit that it's not always necessarily completely due to talent why these series blow up. Sometimes you could throw the argument maybe it's luck, maybe it's marketing dollars, maybe it's striking at the right time with the right era and the right audience. So there's a lot of different variables as to why people continue on with hits. I'm up for some more Akira Amano.
Don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next products.
The reception for Dragon Ball Daima has been overly negative. People don't want baby versions of their favorite characters, they want more of their characters as they are now. This is a completely stupid idea that is supposed to fix the power creep and make everyone relevant again. But since it does it by destroying all the hard work the characters did to get where they are, and makes everything kid-friendly instead of more mature and elaborate, it becomes the definition of character regression. It seems as though with this arc, Dragon Ball did not grow up with us and instead regressed to something stupid. It's clearly not something a real fan would like. Unless he's a sellout. A hype tard exists to exploit the obsessions and addictions of others for his benefit. Such people will be in support of every idea because that way they can take advantage of everyone else who will be in favor of that idea. Dragon Ball babies, that's an amazing idea. Nobody wanted it, nobody likes it, nobody was in support of it when GT was airing, but it's an amazing idea regardless because this way I will get sponsors by the industry and more people will be watching my videos. And why stop there? I can say every show needs the same idea because it's a good idea, so why not copy that idea? Naruto babies is a good idea, Bleach babies is a good idea, One Piece babies is a good idea. Everything must regress to be babies aimed at babies. That's what we need. Now give me sponsorships because I'm promoting your show and watch more of my videos that you wouldn't watch if I wasn't in support of this idea.
Nier Automata Episode 1 is finally here at long last. With any series that has a lot of hype, a large community, and a lot of people excited for its release, you will have those that want to just drag it on down and be negative Nancy's on every little detail that they possibly can. It's basically the exact same thing that happened with Chainsaw Man. I don't know how anyone legitimately could complain about Chainsaw Man. But anyways, this is a Nier video, so we need to talk about Nier. We need to talk about, I want the Nier anime to succeed. I want it to be successful. I want it to be good, because I am a fan of it, and I only want the success for the series. So, this is a very good episode. It adds a lot of symbolic nature to it. I really like this episode. I feel the passion from the project. I can tell that A1 Pictures cares about this. There is definitely love for this show. There is definitely love for Nier, and there is definitely a lot of respect for Yoko Taro's work. Don't let people's negative opinions sway you from watching this show. Don't let someone else say like, oh, this is trash. Don't let that sway you from starting it. This video ages poorly. Let's be honest, most people that are probably clicking on this video right now probably even forgot this anime existed. People are obviously just giving up on it and moving on, because, let's be honest, why wait for a series when there's already newer and better things that's already coming out? A few weeks, like 4 or 5 weeks from now, we're gonna be on a new anime season, and, you know, we're gonna have stuff like, you know, JJK, we're gonna have, you know, Bleach, we're gonna have Mushoku Tensei, and when you think about just all these big-name series that are set to return this year, people are gonna just completely forget about Nier Automata. Hell, even I will definitely forget about the anime. I'm just gonna keep it real. This anime is a dumpster fire. Straight up. Like, there is no sugarcoating it. I'm just gonna be completely blunt. The anime collapsing so hard, it's a dumpster fire. It is.
So I checked what videos are currently trending in One Piece, and all of them are about the recent chapters where something is always revealed, something is always shocking, something is always missed by everyone, and something is always Goda cooking. So basically, nothing has changed over the past decade. Despite the indisputable evidence by thousands of different people proving Oda is just making up shit as he goes along, most revelations being worthless fluff, and the story in general having a ton of narrative issues, thus being nowhere near as amazing as they claim, the fanboys are not stopping. They keep propagating the same lies and they keep ignoring the evidence against it. Partly because a lot of people feel depressed or bored and want to feel excitement by lying about the products they consume, and partly because they are grifters who make money with clickbaits and lies. Now, none of what you see here is new, it is surely something you will find in any show that is popular, which is why I have entitled the video as One Piece Starts. The same situation can be found everywhere. It's why Mushoku Tensei fans do not stop saying there is nothing wrong with the show, it's a redemption story and they are watching it for the background art. It's why Borutards keep on saying every year is the year of Boruto, the massive success everybody loves. It's why Kagurabachi is the best manga of all times, although it's just memes. It's why Dragon Ball Babies is an amazing idea and something every shonen should imitate. And so on, and so on, and so on. Hype, whether it's about boredom or grifting, is about lies and deception. It is not about spreading useful information, it's about misinformation. It is not about building healthy communities, it's about creating communities of compulsive liars who will react with violence whenever someone tells them something other than their lies. And don't forget, it's also about flagging, slandering and banning anyone who dares to point any of this out. This is why, if you want to have a healthy mind, you should not be part of any online community. They will fry your brain and make you unable to accept facts.
Ryu Dragon has been on hiatus for almost a year now. It really was just a unique series in of its own. It is a very special manga that honestly does something very different. Just being about a girl that is discovering herself and, you know, realizing who she really is. But it's still legitimately sad that we've been just left up in the air. We're willing to wait for the offer's return. So when I think it does return, there will definitely be a following, a cult following, so to speak. I think there's a lot of people that are patiently awaiting and looking forward to Ruri Dragon's return. And I hope that people don't forget about this, because there's probably a lot of those right now that clicked on this video and completely forgot that Ruri Dragon existed. hopefully sooner or later we do get a continuation, because I do think that this series deserves it, and I think that it will definitely have a place in Weekly Shonen Jump when it finally does come back. I also want to remind people that this series existed, for the overall hype for it does not dwindle or completely become non-existent. Be safe, stay healthy.
If you didn't hear, Japan caught a few leakers some days ago, and every other leaker is currently hiding. They will be back in a few weeks, as they always do, since leaking chapters days before they release officially is an enterprise that makes a lot of money and gives you a lot of fame. And you know it does, because they are stupid enough to place their names on the images they leak, so nobody else can steal their money. And funnily enough, this is how they are caught. Hello, I'm a criminal, please arrest me, here's the evidence if you don't believe me. Leakers are being praised and paid to take photos of chapters and post them online. They get praised and paid for translating them. Then hyped channels make a lot of views and money by talking about the leaks before they release, and then make another video when the official release comes out. All because many fans are starving for more content, and instead of waiting a few days to get it, they want it now, even if it's blurry images and badly translated Japanese. This is why modern anime fans have become so easily triggered and constantly theorycraft. They don't want to wait a few days, they pay money for their dopamine fix, and they want to talk about things that aren't officially out yet. It has become all about paying money for an illegal early access to something that is not going to be as good as the official version just a few days later. All for the sake of permanently living in the future and thinking about stuff that aren't out yet. And that's why the community became shit. It became all about illegal money and vapid praise about things that don't exist.
Until I actually see the thing, I'm not going to judge it one way or another. I want to actually see this before I say, like, oh, it's bad or it's good. Because if I'm just going to be giving, like, why am I going to give a half-baked response? From my understanding with Dragon Ball Heroes, I'm not sure how they're going to go about with this, but I'm excited. It's Dragon Ball, baby. For Dragon Ball Legends fans, that's going to be cool. I was hoping for this to be something, even if it was in the vein of Dragon Ball Heroes, although I'm not the biggest fan of that, considering it's not canon. Timebreaker Vegeta, Timebreaker Bardock, Golden Cooler, Broly Super Saiyan 4. There's just so much of anything you can think of. Until I actually see the thing, I'm not going to judge it one way or another. It's gonna be interesting to keep things fresh. We could see Super Saiyan 4 Goku one week, we could see Uzaru Vegeta the next. I want to actually see this before I say, like, oh, it's bad or it's good. The Prison Planet arc is something I'm excited about because I have no idea what it is. It has the whole plot and everything here. Why am I going to give a half-baked response? For Cooler to be some form of canon to the series? My gosh, that's gonna be interesting. So they might do this in continuity with Super, but just have it like this alternate wacky thing where characters are popping into our timeline or something. There's endless possibilities. Dragon Ball Heroes, although I'm not the biggest fan of that, considering it's not canon. Honestly, the art got me excited. Everything about it, because I did not expect this. This is gonna be so insane. Until I actually see the thing, I'm not going to judge it one way or another. If they have this much fan service to, delve into, every single week we're gonna be blown away by what's happening. I want to actually see this before I say, like, oh, it's bad or it's good. Dragon Ball Heroes Episode 1, please come!
I was told recently that I was wrong about Kagurabachi because the first volume sold very well. That means it won't get axed, and it's in fact going to be the next Attack on Titan. The same way every new title is the new Attack on Titan. And yet when you look at this guy summing up the community thus far and everyone praising him for how right he is in the replies, then you just know how Kagurabachi has become the most recent example of a phantom audience. And by that, I mean nobody in the fandom being an actual fan of the manga. As he describes it, the first wave of fans was those making memes about the promotional images, way before the first chapter came out. They couldn't possibly care about the actual manga since there was no manga out yet. They were just making a joke about Kagurabachi outselling everything at a time when My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen were announced to be ending soon. Something had to replace them, and as soon as they took notice of the promotional images, they memed the living hell out of it. This made a lot of people curious enough to check out this thing they were memeing to hell, not because they found out about it organically and liked it, but because they got curious by all the astroturfing. The second wave of fans was the yaoi artists who jumped in. They also didn't give a shit about the manga, since they were in it just for the profit they would make by drawing gay porn. They made so much yaoi shit, many fujoshis began reading the manga, not because they found out about it organically and liked it, but because they got horny by gay porn. And then Shonen Jump got desperate since none of the dozens of new titles it tried out was doing well, and seeing all the memes and the yaoi, decided to use nepotism and offered Kagurabachi an unfair amount of publicity compared to everything else it axed. And that is what led to a lot of people being curious to check out the manga and why Volume 1 sold so well. Not because they found out about it organically and liked it, but because they were tricked by the astroturfing that is based on memes and gay porn. And there you have it, the definition of a fandom audience. As soon as people lose interest in the memes and the yaoi, it's going to flop spectacularly.
Mashle was really dope. I haven't kept up with Mashle in a really long time. It's kind of sad to see it going. I stopped reading about like in the 70s, Shonen Jump. Y'all just throwing out all of the battle series, huh? I haven't really been keeping up with the anime, to be honest with you. I thought that this was going to be a long runner. Eventually, I'm going to catch up and finish this bad boy. I thought that this was going to be next up. When My Hero left and Black Clover left, it was going to be Mashle time. I'm going to finish this at some point. There's so much more to it, and again, the current arc that we're in right now, if you're caught up, you know, you're about to know. Let's get into a little bit of that martial magic and muscles, baby. Let's do it! Wasn't the cat's meow per se that I had hoped for. One of the most interesting, entertaining, epic, and all of that jazz manga for quite a bit now. Shonen Jump at this particular point might have its biggest anime flop of all time. Plenty of epic things going down, and currently where we're at right now with this arc, it's kind of crazy. It's very crazy. More than likely explains what's happening and why this series was recently ended, recently finished its run, because yeah, Shonen Jump is probably not happy about this one. We're only 66 chapters and we have this whole big system. We've had exams, we've had, again, Mosh being found out, like just a shit ton of stuff. This could potentially be one of Shonen Jump's biggest flops of all time. Mosh, especially once we get it animated, this is where Martial Magic and Muscles is going to explode with popularity. Sales are devastatingly low. I'm all here for it, fam. This shit is wild. This shit is going crazy. And it gets crazier. This is probably Shonen Jump's biggest flop. This arc of Martial is straight heat, fuego, flames, 194 copies. I'll be honest with you, if you're sleeping, it's only a matter of time until you wake up. Once this gets animated, this is going to be big. The anime ain't really hit. You should be checking it out, fam. I'm talking about it for a reason. It's hype. It's about to be big. It's about to be big. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Martial Magic and Muscles, go! 194 copies. 194. A lot of this is bullshit. You never freaking know.
Remember the good old days when a show needed to establish itself after several years of success before anyone could use it as a point of reference? Well, not anymore, because now we live in the age of instant gratification where something doesn't need to prove anything and be considered peak while it's still airing. Remember how Solo Leveling was said to be the next Sword Art Online after a decade had passed since it came out and nobody takes it seriously now? Well, Viral Hit is going to be the next Solo Leveling while the latter just came out. They already decided what the next smash hit will be while the previous smash hit just came out, which by the way is not even a smash hit. Most of the reviews are negative. It has less weekly karma than a nothing burger show like Delicious Dungeon. The reception has been so bad, even those who have positive opinions do nothing but attack anyone who dares to say he doesn't like it. And yet these shills have the audacity to say Viral Hit will fill the void left by Solo Leveling while the show is still airing, and therefore therefore there is no void. And of course, they have to mention Solo Leveling is the new era for manhwa adaptations, despite saying the exact same thing for Tower of God a few years ago. And just like before, we just have to like it, so they will encourage the adaptations of more manhwa. Of course they would say that. Why wouldn't they? The only reason you are in this industry is for consuming products and be excited for more products. If you are here for any other reason, you're a hater who doesn't want to join the new era of whatever bullshit is trending at the time.
I was shocked when I saw it. Everybody hyping this manga known as Kagura Bachi that wasn't even officially out yet. You were shocked! So the manga's not out, but people are hyping it because one of the drawings are cool. I'm shocked. You were shocked! Part of me starts questioning I wonder if this is some sort of marketing tactic. Always at the very least question the validity of some shit, you know what I'm saying? So when I saw Kagura Bachi blowing up at first, I was thinking to myself, oh, but the manga's not out yet. How are people hyping about this? I'm shocked. You are shocked! In all honesty, if you've read shonen manga before, if you've read a lot of the stuff that's been out there, and you're ready for something that is a little bit more mature in nature, I think that this is for you. All these people just getting destroyed, body, blood everywhere. You are shocked! You gave them the type of setup that will allow the older audiences that have read all of the shonen that is like quick shit happening and fun, happy-go-lucky, like for a more mature audience, you give them that. And then you also give the violence and all the other crazy stuff that anybody would want to see. I'm like, oh snap, you just slashed him in half, an arm went flying. Serious in nature, mature in nature, and a shocker for Shonen Jump. You are shocked! It feels shockingly mature for Shonen Jump. Like, it's not like the mature that you would get from Naruto wanna be Hokage, Luffy wanna be Pirate King. It's nothing like any of those series. Like, it feels, again, a lot more mature. Chihiro has Boruto inspiration written all over him. I see you, what y'all doing, don't play with my 2 blue vortex. Chihiro has to be inspired by Boruto, I'm sorry. You are shocked! It's shocking that this is even getting love like that, to be honest with you, because of the fact it's just like very bloody, very violent. So it was mature in that aspect, more adult in that aspect. You are shocked!
The internet continues to gaslight anime fans who don't bother to check the charts. Remember what they were saying about Solo Leveling in the first weeks? It is the most watched anime of all times. It crushed the servers. It silenced the haters. It began a new age of Korean webcomic adaptations. And then the disc sales come out and you have evidence that nobody bought a copy because nobody liked it. Do you know what everyone paid money for? For cute girls playing with tongues, followed by cute magical girls fingering each other. That's the only thing that's selling anymore. And no, you didn't have to wait for the disc sales to know it was all a bunch of lies. You could see it in the vast amount of reviews and comments by everyday people. The show was a mess right away. Of course, the internet will try to gaslight you by claiming disc sales don't matter. What matters is everyone watching something as evidence to how enjoyable it is. Regarding that, Solo Leveling was ranked 35th out of 61 airing titles. And that does not mean half of everyone still watched it, since the total number of people watching something is a steep downwards curve. By the time you get to the 35th title, not even 10% of the total viewer base watches it. But no, the internet will try to gaslight you even more. By claiming it's such an enjoyable show, people watched it from beginning to end. And then you look at the data and you see half the viewer base gave up on episode 2, and then half of the remaining viewer base gave up on episode 7. So essentially you only had 10% of everyone starting the show, which by the end of it was lowered to a quarter of that. And since only 1% of people who finish a show bother to buy a copy of it, you end up with a pathetic number of a few hundred sales at best. Once again we see why hype is nothing but lies. It's whatever the companies want you to hear so they can gaslight you into paying them money for a product that they want you to think it's amazing. When it's not, it's a derivative nothing burger that has nothing to offer you. Buying into the hype is the same as paying $10,000 for the image of an ugly monkey which has no real value or practical purpose. You were just fooled to pay a lot of money for the image of an ugly monkey because you wanted to be hyped. When you let yourself to be controlled by hype instead of looking at plain facts, you are training yourself to be a sociopath. It is not something as harmless as being tricked by AI-written articles about a nothing burger anime. Oh silly me, they got me, oh well. Just the other day, a digital lynch mob destroyed the career of an American cartoonist and drove him to suicide. The only thing the internet mob could do was to clap hands and be in support of both the cancel culture that was constantly bombarding the victim with imaginary allegations, and the upcoming release of a comic where yet another superhero comes out as gay after decades of being straight. This is the only thing people can do when they only care about hype. The outcome does not matter. It's only about being positive about the most insane claims. Being positive over people spending a fortune on worthless images of ugly monkeys and people ending themselves after endless cyberbullying and false allegations. Is this the life of a sociopath you want to have? Okay then, trust me brah, solo leveling is the beginning of a new era for anime. Now pay me $10,000 for this image of an ugly monkey and clap hands as I destroy the careers of people with imaginary allegations until they end themselves. Hype?
There is one manga and one manga alone being talked about on every single social media platform. And what is this one manga that's sweeping the entire nation that people are already claiming is better than the likes of the entirety of the big three? Well, that would be none other than Kagurabachi.
I have never read that in manga.
Likes of which have never been seen before. A level of hype started to surround this manga that I haven't seen for the first chapter of a manga maybe ever. People currently memeing Kagurabachi to be the greatest anything of all time. The people have already began to dub Kagurabachi as better than One Piece.
I haven't seen anything like that.
Never really seen done before.
The fact that a manga is one chapter into its story and is trending on every single social media means that it has a pretty good chance of being successful. Kagurabachi is the biggest thing in the manga world right now. The hype might actually be justified.
Something you more than likely have never experienced.
We had not seen up until this point.
The first chapter of Kagurabachi checks all of the boxes to be a successful shonen for the next 10 or so years. Kagurabachi will turn into one of the biggest manga on earth, the most widely hyped manga I've ever seen.
I have never read that or seen that in anime.
It's like nothing we've ever seen before.
Did the chapter live up to the hype? Do I believe that it's worth a read? Do I think it's going to get a long manga run? Do I believe it's going to get an anime one day? And to all of those questions, I answer with a overwhelming yes. This manga will run to completion. It will get an anime one day, and it is mostly worth reading. I genuinely see Kagurabachi being able to bang with the likes of JJK and One Piece for the foreseeable future, because the biggest barrier of entry is reading chapter 1, and millions of people are currently reading its chapter 1.
I haven't seen it yet.
And we haven't seen anything even close to that.
Hey guys, did you hear? Star Wars is dead. Since the previous time it was dead, and until the next time it will be dead. My feed is flooded with videos all repeating this mantra because of the Acolyte series. But is it really dead when they keep making shows and movies and video games about it, and thousands of people still watch and play them and make videos about them? How is it dead when so many are still talking about it? They can say it's awful, they can say the good phase of Star Wars is over, they can say the Star Wars as they knew it is dead, but they can't say it's dead now, when they can't shut up about it. They've been saying it since the prequel trilogy in the early 2000s. How can it be dead ever since and they still talk about it as if it's happening now? You know what's actually dead? My Hero Academia. Since nobody talks about it, nobody really cares about it, besides saying how good it used to be once. And nobody even bothers to review the current season, much less give it a higher score than the third season of the Slime Isekai, which is just people sitting on a table and talking for hours. Something is not dead until it's completely forgotten or ignored. You can't say it's dead when so many can't shut up talking about it. Therefore, Star Wars is not dead. It's awful, but it's not dead. And the more you say it, the less it will be.
Zom 100 is probably the best pilot episode of this season. The absolute dumpster fire that Zom 100's production has had could be studied for generations to come. I really do mean when I say that this is hands down probably the best first episode of the season. Has probably killed the show for potentially getting a season 2. This is a actually phenomenal first episode that really just makes you feel for a character. It does damper the hype and just the fan base, like where they don't really care about it anymore. Fantastic, and it honestly blew my expectations out of the water. See the dumpster fire that it's become behind the scenes, it is just legitimately sad. I became very attached to this main male character. People are going to completely forget about Zom 100. That's the truth. It's going to be very relatable for a lot of people. People are just going to, have this series fade from their minds. They're not going to think about it. Really good first episode, and I say if you have not watched the show yet, you really should. It's good. And then some people are going to hear about it, they're not going to be bothered to continue it.
Let's start by showing how much I care about the queers and the druggable tards now that it's July and we can all change our avatars. And then let's move to Kakurabachi, which is still hyped up to be the next smash hit now that My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen are ending.
Kagurabachi is a manga that just seems to be incapable of failure. Every other day there's a new success story about the series. One of the most recent ones being Shueisha themselves saying they want Kagurabachi to carry the next generation of Jump, which is an achievement that is truly mind-boggling when you think about it. The actual greatest part about all of this is that it is nothing short of well-deserved.
I checked the latest chapters and guess what? Nothing has changed since the first chapters. It's still a guy swinging a sword. You can't say much about a chapter when it comes out, which is the bread and butter of all the shills on YouTube. What can they possibly say about it? You can talk for hours about every new Boruto chapter, just based on the power-ups everyone is getting. Kakurabachi doesn't have that. In fact, it doesn't have anything. It's a basic revenge porn about finding magic swords, and it's still about an emo killing mass-produced generic dudes. It doesn't have any interesting themes like My Hero Academia, it doesn't have mysteries like One Piece, it doesn't have transforming swords so the bleach tards can see some damn bankais, goddammit! It doesn't even have waifus worth simping over like in Fairy Tail. There is more content in bottom-of-the-barrel manga, such as Boruto and Fairy Tail, than there is in Kagurabachi. Why the hell does anyone expect it to be the next smash hit, other than the fact that there is nothing worth hyping anymore? Anything that came out after Jujutsu Kaisen was either axed right away or nobody cares about it. There is nothing for the shills to hype anymore. They are desperate to hype something now that the money wells are about to dry up. Thus, as soon as a generic guy swinging a sword comes up, they pretend it's the next smash hit, because there is nothing else that does the bare minimum that can generate hype. When you are left with nothing, you settle for crumbs, which is what Kagurabachi is all about.
Hiro Mashima's Eden Zero has been pretty successful and the anime's been doing pretty well. Sales-wise is like, it's tanking at this particular point. Think of like the vibe that you get somewhat from Fairy Tail, but in space, and from what I've gotten so far, done a lot better. He should end that bad boy off. It's a more fresh idea that people aren't really executing, especially in the anime and manga realm, and I think Hiro Mashima is doing a great job on that aspect. It's tanking at this particular point. I haven't seen any of the major blunders or major problems that plagued Fairy Tail and Eden Zero. He should end that bad boy off. Hiro Mashima learned his lesson about some of the bullshit that he pulled in Fairy Tail, because there wasn't anything that was jarring to me. There wasn't anything that I was like, Hiro Mashima classic bullshit. It's tanking at this particular point. It doesn't have the same blunders as Fairy Tail thus far, and the art and animation for the anime is pretty dope too. He should end that bad boy off. I like it, and it doesn't have the same problems that plagued Fairy Tail. It's tanking at this particular point. It's interesting. It's not a magic-based series. It's with this ether gear, but the action is kind of dope, and in general, it's just, it's a cool story. Dead Rock, it is way better than Fairy Tail, way better than Eden Zero. It just seems like he's not playing around. This almost feels a little bit more seinen-like for Hiro Mashima.
So, the final season of 2024 is on, and I don't give a shit despite having the most mainstream titles of all 4 seasons. These 4 anime have gotten all the initial hype and they are just slop. ReZero Tension continues to be about a Nit having wholesome moments with his harem until some cringe lord appears and kills him in an edgy way. Then time resets and he keeps repeating the same events until there are no negative consequences. It's been like that since the very beginning. Zero tension since the protagonist has infinite retries, edgy deaths that get constantly undone so there will never be any consequences, and a lot of waifu gathering. The MC has like 20 by now, half of which look like 10-year-olds. And the latest episode ends with him having to rescue his number one waifu after the bad guy knocks her unconscious so she will have no agency and wants to marry her while in a coma. Yup, the trend of a Nit having to rescue comatose waifus continues since the days of Sword Art Online, and the anime community loves the living hell out of it. That's what you get when you want to make your hobby mainstream and you don't gatekeep. The Bankai show continues to be nothing but flashy animation and zero depth. Everyone spends 10 minutes in hyping up their Bankai, pretty colors fill the screen, and then the main bad guy simply negates everything because his power level is bigger than the guy who used the Bankai. That's pretty much it when it comes to tactics, and the anime community loves the living hell out of it. Why bother having a decent plot when the only thing everyone wants to see is some damn Bankais, goddammit? Then there is Dogs, Chibi's House, which is just pretty colors and fan service. Cringy shit about aliens and ghosts happen, the main male is a geek loser, and the underage main female constantly mocks him and is constantly sexualized for laughs. Also, injuries mean nothing since they get constantly smashed on concrete walls, and they are perfectly fine. It's random nonsense with zero depth. And then there is druggable babies, which I said not many will care about, and it's still true because there were no babies. That starts on the next episode. The only reason people liked the first episode was because half of it was a recap of Druggable Z, the actual thing they cared about, and had zero babies in it. As for the other half, it was a non-stop info dump about what is clearly happening on screen, so why the shit were they even saying it? And retconning a bunch of things regarding the Potara earrings and the Druggables for yet another time, which directly contradicts what is happening in Druggable Super, because Toriyama had no idea how to handle the power creep. It got so bad, not even the very creator of this bullshit knows what is going on. So basically the whole episode was nothing but member berries and terrible writing, and the fantarts act like it was a masterpiece, when it's just them playing on nostalgia and toxic positivity for the sake of likes and subs. What an awful community. And there you have it, this is the best modern anime can offer. Waifu gathering, edgy deaths that mean nothing, bankais that work however the plot wants them to work, sexualizing minors for laughs, people getting smashed on solid rock without a single injury, member berries, terrible infodumps, and constant retcons. If that's what counts as entertainment nowadays, I am not amused. And in case some of you feel like pointing out, anime were always so bad, here are 4 vastly superior alternatives.
Anyone that probably gets into anime and has watched anime probably has seen a fair share of harems. The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really Love You is a spin on that genre. The whole premise of the show is literally about that, and it's just so refreshing, breath of fresh air. Our main male character has to rizz up 100 different girls, because if he does not, they will die. And it's a very refreshing breath of fresh air. If you're one of those individuals that just don't want to start this because you've already watched enough harems and stuff like that, disregard that notion and try this. I promise you, it is different. It is legitimately a different anime. It is definitely not one of those. We had this, the whole god scene where, Rentaro meets the god. This scene is really funny because it actually kind of breaks the fourth wall, and the very concept of, this series, at least the manga, it's very self-aware of what it is and the ridiculous nature of what, 100 Girlfriends really is. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's refreshing breath of fresh air. If he does not rizz up 100 girls, basically, that is destined to him as soulmates, they will die. Very refreshing breath of fresh air. It basically kind of gives a reason to why Rentaro cannot give up and he has to get all 100, because if he doesn't actually go out with all 100, any of those could die. Very refreshing breath of fresh air. It is such a good series because people have continuously told me that it gets better and better as the story goes on. So judging by how the fans absolutely love this show, I'm willing to bet you it is straight quality. It does not degrade.
I found this article about the mangaka of Kinnikuman being disappointed with how nobody overseas gave a shit about his show. Why would he be? Did he somehow believe there would be millions of people biting their nails in anticipation? Let me give you 5 simple reasons for why it failed, which should be self-evident to everyone, including the mangaka. Number 1. Kinnikuman was never popular in the West. I have never seen a single person talk about it. Even I never once mentioned it in my videos, never recommended it, and never had an argument over it. So if it never had any popularity and nobody ever talked about it, how did the mangaka expect it would be popular without any buzz? Number 2. The lack of buzz is not the only issue. Although Kinnikuman is a cult classic in Japan, it doesn't mean it would still be popular right now. Let's say that during the 80s it was as popular as Dragon Ball. Why would the mangaka assume it would still be popular right now? We are in a season where they air Dragon Ball babies and nobody gives a shit about it either. Because there was no demand. Nobody wanted these shows and thus nobody watched them. Number 3. The lack of demand is also not the only issue. I heard from a few people who tried it out that they didn't want to go on because it was the 3rd season of a show they never heard of, and when they tried to look for the older seasons they couldn't find them. It's not even easy to pirate them because nobody bothers to seek them. Most people don't want to jump in a show during the 3rd season, they would rather watch the previous seasons first, and in this case they were not available. Thus they didn't bother with the show. Why is that so hard for the mangaka to understand? How did he assume people would start watching from the 3rd season without any issues while also denying them the chance to watch the previous seasons? Number 4. Even if the previous seasons were available, and even if Kinnikuman was a remake of the 1st season instead of a continuation, it would still have close to no chances of success, because it's a retro title from 40 years ago. The vast majority of anime fans watch new stuff, they don't watch old stuff. We are in a season where they air the remakes of Ranma and Grandizer, super popular titles of the 80s. They are not continuations, anyone can jump in without a problem, and the previous versions are fairly easy to find. Still not legally all the way, but it is easy to find them. Despite that, they are not popular either, because they are old. People watch ReZero and Dan Dan Dan, which are much newer. It's a fact. I don't like it, but it's a fact. And number 5, even if Kinnikuman was a new show, it would still not be popular. And this last reason is also why I am not watching it despite being a huge retro fan. Because it looks like shit. The character designs are terrible. I'm not gonna watch something that looks so goofy. Just because they have manly muscular bodies doesn't mean I'm gonna ignore the derpy faces. I cannot stand this. And I'm pretty sure most people thought the same. If something doesn't look nice, people are not gonna watch it. And this doesn't look nice. If the mangaka thought he was drawing Fist of the North Star and assumed everyone would love it, that is his problem, not the viewers. And that is why Kinnikuman failed. Because it's shit.
Ice Head Guild Chapter 1, my thoughts on it. The new series from Shonen Jump. I will definitely say, for starters, this is one of the most entertaining new battle series in Shonen Jump in a long while that I personally read. That was gas, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. It gives me Vinland Saga meets Demon Slayer, and that ending, I ain't gonna lie, kind of gave me a little bit of Hunter's Guild Red Hood. This chapter was hype. So much mystery and suspense built up in the first chapter. So much things that I'm anticipating now. The biggest and most epic recipe for an epic new manga. I mean, all of those things combined alone is like, we're talking about something hype. In 3 years, this could be something humongous. I could see this one being big. Really digging this one. I think that it has massive potential to be something great. If that doesn't sell, I don't know what will.
One of the things Dragon Ball Babies does right is the production values. It's very well animated, and for many that should have been enough to be in the most popular titles of the season. It wasn't. A year ago there was this football anime called Blue Lock that everyone had hyped up because it also had good production values. It didn't help much in its staying power since nobody cared once it was over. Pretty colors can only help a show to attract an audience. They can do nothing if it's not actually good. Right now the second season of Blue Lock is airing and nobody cares about it. It has even less karma than Tower of God. Imagine that. The production values also went to hell, and now it's just moving JPEGs and CGI balls. And yet, despite that, Dragon Ball Babies and its fancy animation is even less liked than Blue Lock and its non-existent animation. Who could have foreseen that nobody gives a shit about pretty colors if he doesn't care about the characters or the plot? Daima has nothing that the bulk of anime fans want. It is a sanitized Saturday morning cartoon show and has nothing in common with what made the previous Dragon Ball series so popular. Nobody was watching those for the production values or the fast pacing. It was either the sex comedy in the beginning or the epic fights later on. Seeing the characters being babies doing sanitized jokes for toddlers is insulting. Not even Blue Lock did that, which is why it is better received despite the vertical drop in animation. Imagine that.
I think the joke might be over, and not because the meme is overused or other stuff like that, but because Kagurabachi is actually quite good. Although we started pretty hard with all of these sword fighting and techniques and sorcery, it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. This series doesn't give you time to breathe, and I kind of like it. It really looks like this manga plans for the long run. I really think it's going to take at least over 100 chapters at this pace. I doubt it's going to be cancelled anytime soon, like other people kept saying, simply because the popularity is just too immense right now.
Oh, okay. I have seen several videos and articles that talk about the decline of Dragon Ball Diaper in just a few episodes. Each one makes it sound like it's a shock after the very well received pilot episode that was in the top 10 most watched anime of the week. Some try to excuse it by saying there wasn't enough promotion before the show began, which isn't true since everyone was talking about Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, that is, not this bullshit nobody wanted. They also try to make it sound like it was the fault of latecast, meaning it takes a whole week to be broadcasted everywhere and that kills the momentum, which also isn't true since if people actually liked the show, something as vague as leaks about the summary would be enough to drive them nuts with overthinking and speculations until the actual episode comes out. It's what happened every week with One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen not long ago. Therefore, a late cast wouldn't be able to affect the buzz around the show. They might also say there are more interesting shows to watch during this season, which drives the viewers away from a less good show, which is also not true. Dragon Ball Super was complete garbage and it was super popular. Quality has nothing to do with how many will watch something. It's a simple case of supply and demand. Nobody wanted a show about the Dragon Ball characters being babies. They wanted more Dragon Ball Super. The only reason the pilot episode was popular was because it didn't have any babies yet, and it was mostly clips from Dragon Ball Z. You know, the actual thing people wanted. There is no shock before the expected vertical decline in popularity. It was obvious since the very first announcement of Diaper, when everyone in the audience was yelling, "We want Moro!" And nobody gives a shit about Toriyama's passing, okay? Because they only cared about Dragon Ball Z. Nobody's watching the show to honor his memory, as every shield was demanding before the show was made. Dragon Ball Babies is supposed to be 100% Toriyama influenced, and it's a nothing burger. He was never that good at making comical adventures. It was mostly the lowbrow sex jokes that made it work, and even that got old rather fast. He now created something that he was never that good at, without the element that was making it work, while a game about what people actually want just came out, and some still wonder why it lost its popularity so fast? It has to be something inconceivable, because every fake journalist was saying it's going to be a smash hit. How is it possible that the fake journalists were lying? They clearly predicted Kamala Harris would win in the election. So many people are now scratching their heads at how out of touch with reality all these sites are. But then again, these sites exist specifically because a lot of people want to be lied to instead of just looking around them at the most obvious things. There was never any demand for babies and diapers, and Trump won because he had the better memes.
MASH is a step ahead of the classic shonen protagonist trope. The world he lives in is truly against him. He dominates the 3 Fs of shonen, and more importantly, he absolutely is a Chad amongst Giga Chads. In a world of ninjutsu, Naruto has a large amounts of chakra and the Nine Tails to fight in his battles. In a world where pirates rule the seas, Luffy has devil fruit powers to go toe-to-toe with Yonko. And in a society where superpowers are everywhere, Deku gets the strongest quirk known to man. Every character has an essential ability that makes it possible to climb the ladder they want to go up towards. Well, MASH, well, he's in a completely different ball game. A society filled with wizards and witches, and the only thing he needs to win are his protein-induced, hard-toned, muscled body. MASH is playing a completely different game from these guys. In order to show you how this differs from the regular formula, they're not always guaranteed to win. I watch MASH fight knowing he's going to win, but the reason I'm so invested in the battle is not to see him win, but to see how he wins. What makes MASH's fights fun is how easily he breaks this idea that they are better by imprinting his fists in their face. Never in the moment rants or passionate speeches about ideals, just not the Pinky X. The reason these fights are so funny is because we get to see these internal monologues of the antagonists get their ass handed to them. What really makes them stand out compared to other friendship groups is that they all have weird-ass personal issues. Instead of being characters made to be stepping stones for the main protagonist, everyone is memorable and has a major role in expanding the knowledge of the magical world to the reader. The story will just revolve around him. MASH is the breath of fresh air I needed in a shonen protagonist. In a conversation, he talks about shoe cream. When he grows up, he wants to become a shoe cream maker, and if he ever had a bad day, he will offer a shoe cream bag. There is nothing more important to MASH than shoe cream, and this is what completes the perfect shonen trinity that no other shonen has ever done before. The food of this show became so important that the battles are fought and won over shoe cream. How many shows could say they have done this? This is absolutely extraordinary writing, and I have already eaten 2 shoe creams in writing this script. MASH is different, where he is the lovable idiot and a badass because unlike other protagonists, he is innocent and not looking to fight. He forgets to meet Draco. He's not making a point. He's just, got his mind on more important things. I love that MASH is basically the bro that just spouts random stuff and gets confused on his own from time to time. He's an innocent yet powerful being, which makes him easy to love and laugh with while these witches and wizards flaunt their oh so powerful magic. I love how he's just a simple-minded gym bro who loves shoe cream, his friends, and his father, and all he wants is his own shoe cream shop to make other people happy. No other shonen manga has been as well balanced. Mashle as a story is perhaps a culmination of all its predecessors combined into a perfectly balanced mosh pit of shonen tropes. I can see inspiration from so many stories and anime that I've seen over the years, and Mashle is that piece of artistry that took the good out of its upperclassmen's work and built upon that groundwork to make Mashle what it is today.
So, a hype-tard made a video trying to figure out the downfall of solo leveling. Why was everyone so hyped up about it at first, and in just a few episodes later almost everyone gave up? The answer is a lot simpler than most would think, including this hype-tard. It didn't have any staying power. In fact, almost nothing has these days. And the reasons for that are obvious to anyone with 3 digits in his IQ. This hype-tard and anyone who is copying and seething every time their favorite show gets ignored don't have the IQ or don't want to accept this very simple fact. There is way too much shit out there and you have access to almost all of it. The reason we have so many fond memories of Nothing Burger series from the time we were kids was because we didn't have access to the inconceivable amount of things we have today. We were limited by what we could see on television or what our parents were allowing us to watch. Therefore, a mid-series would stand out a lot easier than it would nowadays. Because let's face it, the fewer options we are given, the easier it is to like whatever we can get our hands on. What the heck does solo leveling do that you can't find in 100 other shows now that it's so easy to stream whatever you like whenever you like it? Obviously there are more factors, it's not just availability. The more things you can talk about a series, the easier it is to be memorable to you. Remember the hour-long flower symbolism videos from Chibi Reviews about Tokyo Ghoul? Talk about making a show that has a completely generic plot and is swimming in edge to be memorable. Solo Leveling has nothing, it's as shallow as a mud pool. It also doesn't have a cute waifu protagonist that is the strongest of them all, like Friering that was airing around the same time. It was a wimpy male. It doesn't matter if he became a child a few episodes later, it was already too late by then. People lose interest extremely fast nowadays because of everything they have available. So they saw the all-powerful elf waifu on episode 1 and that was the end of it. Oh, and let's not forget, Solo Leveling is a Korean product and the vast majority of anime fans dislike that. They consider them knockoffs or inferior. Also, Korean webcomics have nowhere near the variety of anime. It's just the same power fantasy formula with a different skin, with even less variation than even the Japanese isekai genre. Just check a few of them, something you can easily do these days, and see why it's true. All of these factors sum up why Solo Leveling simply doesn't have any staying power, which isn't something that affects a few shows, it's something that affects 99.9% of everything. You really think anyone will care about Dun 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 in a couple of seasons? So there, in case it wasn't obvious already, now you know why Solo Leveling lost all its hype so fast, and why the hype-tards are either stupid or refuse to accept facts.
I'm excited for Dana Dance anime. I feel like I've been waiting for it for such a long time. We're on the verge of seeing something incredibly big. I think it's going to have a huge reception. It might even shake the world. A nice style that they're jumping into, one that isn't all too familiar but isn't all too different at the same time. They feel interesting and new but ultimately refreshing because they're able to be simple but have so much personality. That growth feels into that charm and that charm feels back into its growth, and then you just end up loving it. It feels crazy enough to be popular. It feels chaotic enough to reach global success. But it also has an innate charm where people can appreciate and love what the story is actually doing. I hope to see it do well. I want it to do well. And I think Science Haru is going to bring it to life in all the right ways. Leave a like and subscribe, that'd be nice. The more you watch, the more YouTube recommends me. I love that, YouTube loves that, and you'll probably enjoy the video.
I think Black Clover is proving to us exactly how short people's attention spans are. April 29th, Black Clover released 2 new chapters, to a grand total of 0 fanfare whatsoever. I didn't realize it came out until I got texted about it 3 days after their release. This manga has now lost almost all of the momentum that it's been generating for the last 8 years. These were 2 really fun chapters. So why is nobody talking about them? Well, it's the quarterly release schedule. Nobody's talking about them. No one's texting me about them, which is rare. I didn't realize they came out. And there's hardly any videos on YouTube covering what happened in these 2 chapters. When a monthly or a quarterly manga comes out, it should be top 5. And yet Black Clover's chapter, which has only been out for 3 days, is sitting at 12th place. It's the quarterly release schedule. Stringing that over the course of 2.5 years is gonna be tough for fan retention.
It's time to remind you that you need to forget everything you know once again, so you can watch whatever slop Japan shovels at you without having that pesky thing called wisdom getting in the way. I already began this year by watching the first episode of Bogus Skill. About that time I became able to eat unlimited number of skill fruits, and it's already the best anime I have watched all year. I highly recommend it to everyone because the sole purpose of talking about anime is selling products. Thus, why else would I be talking about it? If I don't like something, it's my problem. The quality of the show has nothing to do with it. Anyways, this Bogus Skill anime I'm watching is the best anime of all times because it's airing right now. And that's why it's the best show ever. Until the next season, when the next shows will be the best anime of all times. So what is this anime about that says I became able to eat unlimited number of skill fruits in the title? You won't believe this. It's about eating unlimited number of skill fruits. It's unlike anything I've seen before, because I have conditioned myself to forget everything every 3 months. It also subverted my expectations, since I was theory crafting what the show will be about based on that name, and I thought it would be something entirely different. Because it was too much in your face, you know, it had to be something different. And it wasn't, it was exactly what the title says. I didn't expect that. It's a deconstruction. It's at a new gold standard for anime and everyone will be talking about it for decades. Now subscribe to my channel so you won't miss my 5-hour theory on how this anime takes place in the same setting as One Piece and how Oda skillfully foreshadowed it in an interview from 37 years ago. Absolute cinema!
Yo, what is this episode, man? Like, I apologize for not watching this soon enough. Like, holy crap. Honestly, I've wasted a lot of my time. I shouldn't. What peak did I just witness? It's been a long time since I saw a fall off of an anime this bad. This is straight up a fantastic first episode. The animation and art took just a dramatic nosedive in the middle half of the show. The best first episode of the year. Like, it's embarrassing every other anime so far. Anything that would keep people interested pretty much died off very early on. I apologize to those that have been recommending this series every single day to me since the first episode came out like last week. Hopefully this video deters you from wasting your time just as how I wasted my time. Ninja Kamui has been making its rounds around the internet. A lot of people have been talking about it, a lot of people have been hyping it up. People's overall opinion of said show is pretty much overwhelmingly negative. The director of this show has directed JJK. Makes a lot of sense why this is making waves now. It is being made by E&H Production. They haven't really worked on anything too crazy. People saying that it felt very bland or generic. Some people were saying that the series just was very generic with a nice coat of paint. I would not really fully agree with that. The series overall had a very lackluster story that was just super generic. I highly recommend anyone that is interested in watching a new anime that is action-packed and potentially the best first episode of 2024 so far to watch this. It's great. I can't, in good faith, recommend Ninja Kamui.
The Big Fiction continues with yet another absolute cinema of an episode. Bogus Skill continues to subvert all expectations by proving that a skill that was supposed to be completely useless is actually the most broken ability in the universe. It's unlike anything I've seen before in the past hour. The nun who mocked the protagonist and insisted he should give up on ever accomplishing something useful is proven wrong, which made me very happy because I wanted her to be humiliated for making fun of the bland self-insert I am identifying with. There is also a super powerful hero who everyone praises all the time. That made me very jealous of him, and I want to see the protagonist beat him up so I can feel better for being stronger than him. The episode delivers once more by revealing the hero was a complete jerk who wants to steal the main waifu from the protagonist. The protagonist uses his most broken ability, easily beats the one-dimensional bad guy in front of everyone, and everyone is shocked with how powerful he is. The writer was cooking magma when he wrote that. Then the protagonist takes the waifu back to his home, where she will have eyes for nobody else but me. Because I self-insert, therefore she's mine. And that is why Bogus Skill is anime of the year as soon as the year began. What's that? Solo Leveling is airing along with Bogus Skill, has the exact same plot and is better animated, therefore it's a better show? That doesn't count! They are nothing alike! Solo Leveling is a shallow show about a bland self-insert who everyone calls weak yet has the most broken skill with which he easily beats one-dimensional bad guys and saves waifus! See how shallow it is? My favorite anime doesn't do that, therefore it's better. Stop being toxic all the time. If you don't think Bogus Skill is peak fiction, then don't watch it and don't talk to me. Only those who agree with me are allowed to speak. What a bunch of losers you all are. Don't you have something better to do than being negative all the time? What is wrong with you? Jeez, and what are the mods doing? Allowing people to have different opinions? I am reporting all of you for harassment.
If you take a look just at this comment section alone, you can see that, yeah, a lot of people has legitimately forgotten that Nier even existed. Nier is beloved by millions of people around the world, not just because 2B has a yacht. And they even throw in the fan service for those that obviously love, 2B. Yoko Taro would be proud. Nobody's talking about it. I feel like people just gave up, lost interest. They gave up and just didn't care for it anymore. Showcasing of, what they did here, it doesn't change the fact that audiences and anime fans in general don't want to wait. Every anime season has 30, maybe even more anime that airs each individual season, and when you realize all of that, you're like, yeah, people will eventually forget about like Nier because they're going into the next big thing. This anime seemed like it'd be a dream come true, but just to see it flop and not a lot of people talk about it, it's honestly unfortunate. And I'm not just saying that because of the fan service of 2B. I love talking about Nier, and having an excuse to talk about it is definitely something I would love to do. This is the first post I've seen anyone mention besides what I made today, and it's just like, when you click translate, it's hilarious that this is literally, out of all of this dialogue here, that was the only thing that translated. It's just like, how did this many words translate just to that?
Now that we are in the third week, we can safely see what is trending this season according to Reddit. It's the second season of Solo Leveling, the second season of Apothecary Diaries, and the second season of 100 Girlfriends. Yes, nothing but sequels, no new IPs, which are supposed to be what keeps creativity alive. I double-checked with Mal, and there is consensus there as well. The exact same 3 titles have the highest ratings. A generic power fantasy, a generic harem, and a period drama that is good, but nobody will remember by the next season. And you also see Gigak. They got him to promote a pop idol show nobody cares about, and all he does to promote it is showing the waifus, and that is all. Anime are trash, and so is he. Anyways, it's another dead season. People are more preoccupied with TikTok getting banned and the end of all anime now that the companies don't want to be associated with the sexualization of minors. Yes, talking about the anime industry is more interesting than talking about anime. This is how dead anime are as a hobby. But it's okay, we can still trust the anime shills when they cover the situation in full honesty.
I would be a big hypocrite if I was advocating for the banning of TikTok, especially when I have went on record multiple times in videos saying I hate censorship. And the banning of TikTok is censorship. This is going to be such a good anime. Like, honestly, might even be anime of the season. Undead Unluck is not popular. Undead Unluck has so much potential to really explode in popularity. It didn't get as much of a reception as I think it should have gotten. I didn't see nowhere near the amount of people talking about it as other series when it was airing. It's going to be a standout series that's going to blow everyone away. The rankings of Undead Unluck in the magazine is really, really poor. It's going to really make people just latch on to the series and talk about it. It's not popular in Japan. It's not. The rankings prove that alone. I dare say it's probably going to be one of the most popular series of the upcoming anime season. The rankings have not been good. The anime obviously didn't give it a boost of popularity that it obviously needed. It will be a banger. It will. It will probably be one of the best of next season. And if the Japanese don't like it and it continuously gets pushed back to the magazine, it's going to get axed.
Let's check how things are going in terms of hype and popularity during the 4th week of the season. Compared to last week, Solo Leveling lost a lot of hype and now it's below 3,000, meaning it doesn't count as highly beloved anymore. 2 weeks, that's how much the hype for this bland Korean power fantasy lasted. This is consistent with IMDb, which shows this Pretty Color show being on the decline in popularity by losing from another Pretty Color show that is on the rise. So much for the title being a rise from the shadows. It keeps falling. Now only Apothecary Diaries, a period drama nobody will remember by next season, counts as the most hyped title and the only one that is still above 3,000. It will most likely won't be by next week, so enjoy it while it lasts. As for Sakamoto Days, it's still 4th, but its hype drops much faster than the ones below it, so it will most likely drop much lower. This might not sound so bad, until you remember it's supposed to be the anime John Wick, and the most anticipated new series of the season. Everything else around it is a sequel, and it only managed to get the 4th place, before dropping even lower. Once again, you see why people are more interested in sequels than in new series. Nobody cares about new stuff, they just want more of the old stuff. If you check Mal, things are even worse for Sakamoto Days, since in terms of score it's number 7, and not even the highest rated new anime of the season. It got beaten by a loli doing ice skating. Yes, anime John Wick got beaten by a loli doing ice skating. This is how little people like it. By the way, this is the current advertisement on Mal. Remember when card games were about summoning huge monsters to fight each other? Now it's about half-naked waifus fighting over virgin weebs. This is what modern entertainment is all about. So in overall, it's another dead season for anime. Keep rewatching older stuff.
Frieren has really marked itself and carved out a legacy of its own. It will definitely become a cult classic. It will be something that will be discussed 10 years potentially from now, people actively discussing certain themes, morals, and, you know, the actual message of what the show is trying to give you. It's definitely going to be discussed. Just as how people to this very day discuss, let's say, something like Death Note, or they discuss Fullmetal Alchemist, people are going to continue to discuss Frieren probably for a very long time. Yuri on Ice is definitely making history. Puts the message across of how important this show is, really relays the message of the show. The reason why is because the message that this show is trying to convey to the audience. It's a very big message. It breaks a lot of barriers that we normally see in anime or manga or literature in general, and it's something that needs to be respected and commended for, and I hope this is a really good new direction for anime and manga in general to be more open about stuff like this instead of making it more cliche or just cringy in general. Did it make history for you guys? Yuri on Ice is canceled. It's over. Studio Mappa did have a successful, very popular show, but they were basically very low in the production committee, and they didn't make money from Yuri on Ice. They barely made any profits whatsoever, and so even though it technically was a smash hit that gave them a lot of recognition, they didn't make any profits as a company. I wanted a fanboy about Omnis Reader, because man, what a fantastic read. If the anime is good, like it's not just average, but actually good, we will have, like I said, an anime that will define the 2020s. I can see Omnis Reader becoming the next big thing, if given love. Because it has a lot of aspects that would just make a home run within the anime and manga community. Great art, great story, great character progression, great development, great action, great designs, like just everything's working for it. And so I truly hope, I really hope that whoever's working on this series, it's a good team. Please Webtoon, please animation staff, please give this series love. I want to see this series successful. It could blow everything out of the water. It could become way beyond anything that we have seen from a webcomic if done right, and I hope it is.
Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding.
This manga made history. Regardless of whether or not it survives in early acts, Ichi the Witch marks the first time in Shonen Jump's almost 60-year history that the dual writing and illustrating pair are women. I'd encourage you to give this series a try. I'm going to do everything I can to support it because I just want to see more of Usazaki's art in Jump for the foreseeable future.
Dandadan is the first anime in years to rival the characterization of One Piece and Mushoku Tensei. They stole my boy's PP. Holy Jesus moly, this is the greatest piece of fiction ever created. To be embarrassed like that as you're sitting there dickless, Dandadan has become a cultural icon. They return him his dick. What makes Dandadan so special, and how did it just change anime forever? Doesn't have his balls. Giving us compositions we don't usually see in a medium that is shared with isekai, a treasure hunt for his balls. Dandadan episodes 1 through 3 were for sure peak. Gives Okurin his balls back. Dandadan has set a new standard of anime. Picked up his golden balls thinking it was a sign from the god. One of the all-time great anime on our hands. Momo now has to watch him at all times, including when he's taking the shit. It's telling a story that's dynamic, interesting, and funny. They stole my boy's PP. It is the best anime episode of the year. To be embarrassed like that as you're sitting there dickless, Dandadan is romance done right. The best romance you've ever seen, and this and that. They return him his dick. Absolute cinema. Doesn't have his balls. The greatest anime episode of the year, a treasure hunt for his balls. You can feel the production has become an avenue of storytelling like no other, and gives Okurin his balls back. Absolute cinema. Picked up his golden balls, a masterpiece of an episode. This was the moment where Dandadan set the standard of what production is in storytelling, because they were pushing the animation, the style, the music, the camera angles, the composition to places we've never seen before, while creating characters that all feel iconic, and it can only be described as peak. Momo now has to watch him at all times, including when he's taking the shit.
Sakamoto Days, one of the most looked forward to anime coming out in 2025, is not crushing it right now.
Everybody was quick to just say that the series was going to be garbage before the first episode aired.
Websites like IGN giving the first episode a 6 out of 10, and the public perception of Sakamoto Days seeming to walk along that 60% line.
The amount of people that I have seen just swap sides and do a complete 180 is some pretty wild stuff.
One of the most popular manga that's finally getting its anime adaptation crashing and burning.
I have legitimately seen non-stop praise by the very individuals that were slandering Sakamoto Days all on the internet a few days ago.
The animation looked chunky and dated, especially compared to other new IP that had released over the course of the last couple of years. And thus immediately, a lot of people who were initially excited for Sakamoto Days kind of wrote it off.
Anyone that was worried and actually went in and is willing to suck up their pride and admit they're wrong will legitimately say that, yeah, this was an amazing episode.
The animation quality, the choreography, the gore, and the direction in episode 1 were great. From an action perspective, people still hated episode 1.
It's just crazy, honestly, just to see the 180 from so many people in these last few hours.
The unfortunate reality that Sakamoto Days is running against Solo Leveling Season 2 and Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. Two of the most beautifully animated and directed seasons of anime I've ever engaged with. Because while all three of these projects are very well animated, Sakamoto Days is the worst looking and has the most dated art style.
It is moving up, and it is not a colossal failure as some would have you believe.
Shiny is sick, and fundamentally, Sakamoto Days lacks shine. See, Sakamoto Days has the somewhat unfortunate combination of muted backgrounds, simple character designs, and one-shade shadows.
You don't have to worry. It's legitimately an incredible first episode.
Sakamoto Days is due